Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Monday, September 1st, 2025, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App $ ORION NWSF or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got the Seattle Mariners versus the Tampa Bay Rays. First pitch is going to be here in roughly 5 minutes. So let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into the starting lineups. Happy Monday, everyone. Can't believe we're already in the 1st of September, but here we are. The playoff push is underway. And we made a few moves this morning, which I will get into here momentarily. On the thumb, on the left, catcher in the game, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. And on the right, one of the best up-and-coming third basemen, Junior Caminero. Now let's get into the starting lineups here first for the visiting Seattle Mariners. Leading off for the Mariners, left fielder Randy Arozarena, making his debut back with the team that really he built his career on. Had that monster push in 2020 for the Tampa Bay Rays. He's coming back home, so we expect him to play well. And honestly, he's been playing really well as of late. If he didn't homer yesterday with that 2-run blast, more than likely would have gotten swept in that previous series. So we're expecting big things from Randy Arozarena. Batting second, catching today, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Batting third, playing center field, Julio Rodriguez. And again, Hustle ended up giving us the dub yesterday on a questionable call at first base that scored 2. It got reviewed for 5 minutes. They ended up keeping the call. It definitely could have went either way, but it was good to be able to get at least one dub in that previous series. Let's go, J-Rod. Let's go, Mariners. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, first baseman Josh Naylor. Batting fifth, playing third base, Eugenio Suarez. Let's go, Gino. Good vibes only. Batting sixth, DHing today for Seattle, Jorge Polanco. His bat is starting to come alive as of late, which is a good thing to see. Batting seventh and playing right field, Dominic Canzone. Batting eighth, playing shortstop, J.P. Crawford. And batting ninth, playing second base, Cole Young. And on the mound for the Mariners with an 8-7 record, an ERA of 3.75, it is La Piedra Luis Castillo. And we know that Miller and Castillo have been a little shaky as of late. Wu, Gilbert, Kirby have started to find their rhythm, and we just have to hope for the best version of Luis here this Monday evening. And now let's get into the starting lineups for the home Tampa Bay Rays. Leading off for the Rays in left field, Chandler Simpson. Batting second, playing first base, Yandy Diaz. Batting third, playing second base for the Rays, Brandon Lowe. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, third baseman, Junior Caminero, an absolute stud. Batting fifth, playing right field, Josh Lowe. Batting sixth, playing center field, Jake Mangum. Batting seventh, DHing today for the Rays, Richie Palacios. Batting eighth, catching today for Tampa Bay, Nick Fortes. And batting ninth, playing shortstop, Tristan Gray. And on the mound for the Rays with an 8-11 record, an ERA of 5.19, it is Shane Baz. And we'll be shooting for 100 likes, 100 on the Dono train, and obviously 5 to 15 subs. And going into some of the moves that we made, Harry Ford, we've been talking about him all year. And again, Cole Young and Ben Williamson ended up getting the call up, first. But Harry Ford got the call up this morning, so he's not starting, but we may see him pinch hit at some point in the game. And again, it'll be exciting to see where they implement Harry Ford, who traditionally is a catcher, but can DH and play, possibly one or two other positions if needed. But they're primarily going to use him, I would assume, as a backup catcher to Mitch Garver and Cal Raleigh, and maybe even a DH spot. We bring up Leo Rivas, who's been doing fantastic in AAA. He can steal bags, singles, doubles. He can play good defense. He's a well-around type of player. Now, that still leaves Ben Williamson in AAA, and we may see him at some point, before the season is over. And they ended up releasing Donovan Solano. So Donnie Barrels is no longer with us, but I think that's okay. We want to make sure that we're upgrading our roster to the best of our ability, and bringing up Harry Ford and Leo Rivas gives us two quality pieces, 2 out of the 6 or 7 pieces that could actually be on this roster today. And obviously Ben Williamson has been raking. Seems like his hitting has been getting much better within these last few weeks, in AAA. So we'll see where it goes. Navis in the building, what's good? Michael in the building, what's good? Marine Bean in the building, what's good? And first pitch to Randy Arozarena, and a diving attempt, and it's a no-go, and a beautiful single there for Randy. Let's go. Can't ask for a better start going against your former team. Nice job by Randy. Let's go, baby. Next up is big dumper Cal Raleigh. Let's go, Cal. First pitch, high and away with the four-seam fastball. 1-0 count. 97 miles an hour by Shane Baz, obviously bringing that high heat and velocity. But great to be able to see Randy, get singles and doubles right out of the gate. He's had some issues with getting caught in between the base paths. Cal crushes it deep into right field, all the way back to the wall, and it stays in play. Does Randy tag up? No, he does not, and that's probably a good sign there. Cal with a big follow-through swing with that torpedo bat. If the wind was blowing out, I think that would have been a 2-run blast. Right on the sweet spot, but just couldn't get enough wind to blow that one out. And that is 1 away. But a good sign to see Cal hitting it that deep on his first at bat, no doubt. Next up is Julio Rodriguez, the hero from yesterday. Obviously, we ended up watching Clash in Paris, but I did watch and maintain a little bit of calls in between that particular WWE stream. I watched the entire Mariner game, and again, 2-run blast by Randy Arozarena to keep us close from potentially not getting swept by the Guardians. But really, it came down to bases loaded for Julio late, and Randy safe at second. There we go. Nice job by Randy. There we go, baby. But again, with Julio, if he didn't run hard to first base and score those 2 runs when it was tied 2-2, we ended up going up 4-2. It was reviewed for about 5 or 10 minutes, and it was very close. It definitely could have been called either way, because right when the foot goes down, the ball was in the mitt. So we ended up getting the benefit of the original call. But again, it could have went either way, but it felt good at least winning 1 out of 3 games against the Guardians when we should have won game 1, being up 4-0 in the first inning, and then only, putting up those 4 runs. And Randy getting caught in between the base paths and out again. Come on, Randy. We just talked about this like 2 minutes ago. Again, I know you're playing your former team, and I know you want to be overly aggressive, but you're hurting the team every single time you're caught in between the base paths. And again, this is the 3rd time now in a matter of a couple games, and he got picked off trying to catch Randy in between the base paths. Come on, man. I mean, again, it's awesome when you end up starting the game with like a single or a double, but if you get, obviously caught stealing or in between the bags, a couple minutes later, it was all for nothing. And a way to kill the momentum, I know you're playing against your former team and you want to show out, but that's not the way to do it. And Randy definitely frustrated. You know, you got to stop sleepwalking, my guy. Pay attention to what's going on in the game. 1-0 pitch, high and inside with that cutter. 1 ball and 1 strike from Baz to Julio. But it was great to be able to see Julio hustle the first so we could end up getting that call and winning that last game 4-2. And again, we're going to need to go for 2 out of 3, if not a sweep, against Tampa Bay. We have Thursday off. We'll be end up doing the Giants and the Eagles, or Cowboys and Eagles for Thursday night for the season opener in the NFL, Cowboys and Eagles. And then a 3-game set on the road against the Braves. Got to win those 2. 1-1 pitch. Takes a strike looking. Knuckle curve there by Julio. 1 ball and 2 strikes here in the top of the first. 0-0 here early with Randy getting thrown out. Sleepwalking in between the base paths. Toby in the building. What's good? Marine Bean says Astros already won. That's not good. And a slow dribbler fouled towards third base. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. But, you know, hopefully Randy will make up for it with a big home run, you know, in this particular game or in the series and ends up getting another single or double and hopefully doesn't get caught sleepwalking in between the base paths again. It's been kind of a problem. 1-2 pitch, fouled off, crushes that one into right field by Julio Rodriguez, who's been absolutely magnificent, you know, after the All-Star break. There's no doubt about that. AR in the building, what's good? Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on the dono train. And we're looking for 5 to 15 subs. And once we hit that, we'll go for 20 to 50. Let's go, Julio. One-two pitch, fouled off again. Julio Rodriguez, 21.4 B-WAR over his first 4 seasons, tied with Ken Griffey Jr., 5th most in MLB history among center fielders, minimum 50% of games. I just love being able to see Julio, you know, play up to the potential that we all know that he can be, like a Ken Griffey Jr. type for us. 1-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and down goes Julio Rodriguez. Baz with a nasty pitch there, and that is out number 3. And a little unfortunate because, again, I really do feel if Randy was able to, you know, just stay at second and not get caught in between the base paths. And again, you know, it's one thing to steal from first to second, but then when you're getting greedy and you're kind of trying to go from second to third, you better be paying attention to what's going on every single pitch, because if you end up just for a split second, just kind of taking the atmosphere in and being back to your original home in Tampa Bay, they caught you sleeping. And I know he'll make up for it, but kind of an unfortunate start that possibly could have led to maybe a run in that first inning, but we're going to have to earn it here today. 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits. And we just have to pray Luis Castillo doesn't give up 3, 4, 5 home runs. Hopefully 3 runs or less, preferably 1 or 2. But lately it's been kind of a crapshoot with him, so we'll see where it goes. And definitely the bats need to come alive for the Mariners. 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits, 2 to 4 homers. We need RBIs, stolen bags, and who knows? Maybe we'll see Leo Rivas or Harry Ford at some point, or maybe we'll have to wait until game 2 or game 3. But I'm very excited because those were the 2 correct people to bring up, you know, based on what we ended up doing here recently. And they ended up bringing up a pitcher as well. And again, if we didn't really need bullpen help, I think Ben Williamson would have been the other individual that we called up. But now all our first-round draft picks in the last 5 consecutive drafts are on the team. Logan Gilbert, 2018. George Kirby, 2019. Emerson Hancock in the pen in 2020. Harry Ford, 2021. And Cole Young, 2022. But we end up getting Harry Ford, Leo Rivas, and then Luke Jackson, right-handed pitcher in the pen to give us a little bit of depth. And at some point, I wouldn't mind bringing Logan Evans back up to the team and moving him into the pen with Emerson Hancock because, again, Brash, Bizzardo, Spire, and Munoz have not really been that trustworthy as of late. Luis Castillo on the mound and Chandler Simpson in the box. First pitch, high and away, 1-0 count. baby. Griffey wants it. One-0 pitch, fouled off. High and inside with that four-seam fastball. 1-1 strike from Castillo to Simpson. I mean, it's too early to really say where the Jags are going to go. You know, at some point, you guys are probably going to have to move on from Trevor Lawrence. You know, little slow dribbler, throw to first, and that is one away. And I think with Travis Hunter, I think he's going to be an explosive player. But whenever you're an explosive player, and if you play corner and wide receiver, or you're a gadget guy where they put him at running back and run some read options and some screens and some reverses, you know, there's always going to be a potential for additional injuries. But I am rooting for you guys to do well. But again, it's going to be pretty tough in that particular division. You know, we would assume the Texans will, you know, be the front runner. You know, and then we'll see what the rest of the teams do. You know, obviously the Colts and the Jags should be pretty similar, you know, based off record, you would think. And then obviously at the very bottom, you would assume it would be the Titans, you know, with Cam Ward as a rookie with not enough pieces really to win the division yet, or even compete for that matter. At least that's what we think. 1-1 pitch, inside. Yandy Diaz with a little check swing there. 1-2 strikes from Castillo to Diaz. Yeah, you know, even though the Texans traditionally O-line has been bad, they have more weapons, you know, most of the time compared to the other teams in the division. But again, it's up for grabs. It's not for sure the Texans division. I mean, it could go Texans, Colts, or Jags. I think the only team you could say for sure is not going to win it is going to be the Titans. 2-2 pitch, slow dribbler, Gino, throw to first, great throw to Naylor, and that is 2 away. Yeah, no one's going to win the division 10 years in a row. Come on, my guy. Down goes Yandy Diaz with a slow dribbler toward third. Next up, second baseman Brandon Lowe. And hopefully we can get a couple, you know, pitches in these counts where we can get ahead of the count, you know, 0-1 and 0-2 instead of being in 2-0, 3-0, and 3-1 counts. But we will see. First pitch is high and away with the changeup, 85 miles an hour, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, right down the middle, big swing and a miss. Nice pitch there by Castillo with the slider. Off-speed pitch, 82 miles an hour. 1-1 strike from Castillo to Lowe. 1-1 pitch, high and away. 2-1 strike from Castillo to Lowe. Yeah, but also, too, you know, if you're a Jags fan, I mean, has he actually lived up to the expectations of you and a lot of the Jags fans? I would say no. You know, again, when you're a first pick in the draft, I think most people would assume that you would want to be at the very least a top 10 quarterback. And unfortunately, Trevor hasn't been. You know, he can play like a top 10 quarterback, maybe a couple games throughout the season, but he typically is somewhere between 11 and 16, and he's been there pretty much his whole career. So at some point, you may have to move on. I mean, it's not like he's a terrible quarterback, but he definitely hasn't lived up to being the first pick in the draft. But again, not very many people do. You know, it's definitely a curse when you're a quarterback and pick number 1 overall. It's a lot of pressure to live up to the expectations and a lot of busts. But I wouldn't say Trevor is a bust. He just hasn't lived up to the expectations, you know. But again, if he can ever put it together, he might be able to be the, you know, 10th best quarterback in the NFL at some point. You never know. 2-2 pitch, and Castillo got him. Down goes Lowe, strikes him out looking, and I love that. End of the first inning, 0-0 Mariners and Rays. And again, Randy ended up getting a single right out of the gate, stole second base, but then when he tried to steal third, or was in the, you know, moments of potentially doing it, the pitcher caught him off guard and threw it to second. He was already like 8 feet off the bag, and there was nothing for him to do besides run towards third, and it was already game over there. But I know Randy will make up for it. End of the first inning, 0-0 Mariners and Rays. And I mean, if we can find a way to sweep this Rays team and sweep the Braves, I mean, that's kind of what we need to do. But at the very least, 2 out of 3 against Tampa and 2 out of 3 against Atlanta. But again, we're not very good on the road. 32 and 37. And again, Tampa is 67 and 69 overall. We're 73 and 64, 32 and 37 on the road, 5 games below 500. So eventually, I hope that we can get at least to 500 or a game or two above. And they're 34 and 33 at home. So it's not like it's that intimidating for the Tampa Bay Rays. And Shane Baz on the mound, 8-11 record with an ERA of 5.19. So with that being said, you would think we should be able to score 1 to 3 runs, within the first 5 innings against Shane Baz. Let's see who's up next here for the Mariners in the top of the 2nd inning. Next up is first baseman Josh Naylor. Batting second, third baseman Eugenio Suarez. Good vibes only. And batting third, a guy that has been picking up the slack with his bat as of late, getting singles, doubles, and clutch home runs, Jorge Polanco. Let's go, Polo. And again, we have been noticing. Keep it up. The SEC is not good anymore. As soon as the NIL became legal, Georgia, obviously most people feel that, they'll still be able to hang around. But again, no Nick Saban, no recruits. And again, that wasn't really that surprising if you ended up following Florida State from last year to this year. And, that's what happens. Recruiting is everything. And, obviously there's no loyalty with coaches or players anymore. They can, go to a new team, anytime they want. So again, to be able to build a team like that again probably will never happen unless they end up getting a Nick Saban type down the road, which may or may not happen. First pitch is high and tight inside to Naylor, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, slow dribbler to first, stays fair, toe tap on the bag, and Yandy Diaz gets an easy out on Naylor, and that is 1 away. And I'm not going to say the ACC is back because obviously we saw, Clemson go down, and there were some upsets in week 1 in college football and whatnot. But it's hard pressed to think that the Big Ten isn't the best conference in college football. I mean, they got enough teams there. Ohio State is the king of the castle, and hopefully Oregon can follow up in second place in that division. Next up is Eugenio Suarez. Hit it deep into left field. Fair ball down the line, and Gino with a double standing straight up. Nice job by Gino. There we go. In that weird camera angle there, you couldn't really tell if that was going to be fair or foul. They didn't really have that, camera angle that we needed. Now, if the wind was blowing out, that could have been a home run like Cal swing. But now they're showing the replay, and perfectly right in between the line and the wall, 318. Nice job by Gino. And let's see if we can knock Gino home, and he won't get caught stealing like Randy did in the first inning. Let's go, Gino. Next up, a guy that's been very good as of late, Jorge Polanco. Could we get Polo with a 2-run jack here in the first inning? That would be a great way to set the tone here early in the matchup. Yeah, I mean, that's really where it is. Again, with coaches as well as players, there's not really a whole lot of loyalty. And then people are saying, well, how come they haven't fired DeBoa, who had success with Michael Penix Jr. and the Huskies before he took the job for Alabama, which we knew he was probably underqualified. But the buyout is $70 million. They're not going to pay $70 million to get rid of him. But again, if they keep continuing to lose games, maybe they will consider getting rid of him this year at some point and just taking the hit. They have enough money. 0-1 pitch is fouled off, high and inside. 0-2 pitch. Pitch is outside, low and away with the changeup, 89 miles an hour by Baz. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Jorge Polanco. But I'm definitely excited for college football in the NFL. We'll be doing a lot of coverage of those things on the channel. But we're not going to shy away from doing Mariners. That's going to be the priority during, baseball season. And then, again, Thursday, when they do have a day off, we can end up doing Cowboys and Eagles on Thursday. And I'm going to double dip on Saturday doing the Ducks in Oklahoma State and then the Mariners and the Braves. I think Oregon is on at like 12:30. And then the Braves Mariner game is on at like 4:15-ish. So I should not have a whole lot of break time in between. Slow dribbler, same exact spot as Naylor, and Polo. Yandy Diaz is out for out number 2. Gino ends up hustling to third base. And let's see if we can actually knock him in here. Slow dribblers, almost in the exact same spot there by Naylor and Polo, and hopefully that won't continue. Next up is Dominic Canzone. Could we get a 2-run blast out of Dominic Canzone? Or maybe more realistically, just an RBI single or possibly a double from Dirty Dom. Now, if Dom ends up striking out, popping up, grounding out, it wouldn't surprise me either. It kind of takes him a few times in the box to kind of get going, at least as of late, after, back and forth with the injury and back and forth from being sent down to AAA from the Tacoma Rainiers and back here on the team. But I think he gives us a better chance to, defend and a better chance to be able to get hits in the box than Luke Rayleigh until Victor Robles is done with his suspension. First pitch fouled off, low and at the knees, wiggles behind the plate, 0-1 count. Shane Baz on the mound, Dominic Canzone in the box. 0-1 pitch, crushed foul towards third base. Nice souvenir for a fan there with the four-seam fastball. 99 miles an hour by Baz. No balls and 2 strikes with a runner at third, Gino, top of the second inning, 0-0 Mariners and Tampa Bay Rays. And we need to be able to get out to a fast start in every single game. Judah in the building, what's good? 0-2 pitch, and fouls it off towards the third baseline again. No balls and 2 strikes to Dominic Canzone. David in the building, how are you? Happy Labor Day. For me, it's like holidays, are pretty much every other day for me. It's like I'm working on Labor Day, I'm working on my birthday, I work on Christmas and Thanksgiving, and I enjoy the holidays, but I also enjoy being able to spend time with the family and then my extended family as you guys as well. So it's not like I'm going to be doing multiple streams on a holiday, but I try to be able to do at least like one game on Thanksgiving or Christmas as Dominic Canzone strikes out there from Baz. And we're going to go to the bottom of the second inning and see what we have coming up here next for the Rays. But I hope everyone is having a fantastic day. Happy Labor Day 2025. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on the Dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. And then once we hit those numbers, obviously we'll be going to that next level. And really the story of the day for us Mariner fans is this guy right here, Harry Ford. We've been waiting 3-4 years, and we finally got the call up this morning, as well as Leo Rivas, who should have already been on this team months ago. We hung on to Donovan Solano. We let him go today. But Solano and Dylan Moore, where we could have had Harry Ford and Leo Rivas months ago, but again, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Ben Williamson is still in AAA, but at some point, depending on the injuries or what happens, there is a possibility that Ben gets a call up as well. He's been playing much better in the box, in AAA. His defense is already top tier. Really, the only weakness with Ben Williamson was consistency in the box and not being really a consistent hitter. And he's been doing pretty good. But again, that's against AAA competition and AAA pitchers. And as anybody knows, dominating in AAA doesn't necessarily mean you're going to dominate in MLB. But again, we definitely love the idea of getting better each day. David with a 5er to start off the Dono train. Stacks, racks with a little Cactus Jack, baby. And I appreciate you. Dono train activated. We're at 5. 95 to go. Appreciate you. With Belichick, we don't really know exactly how that's going to play out, because again, some, elite NFL coaches, it's, when you're mentoring, men that have egos and have money compared to, mentoring young men and boys that are trying to transition into men, it's a little bit different. Not everyone can do it. Obviously we know Harbaugh and Pete Carroll had some pretty good success, but based off just the Belichick name, if he's got guys that are disciplined, first pitch to Caminero, hit deep into center field, Julio Rodriguez is there, no fly zone, 1 away. Nice job by Julio, but hopefully he ends up doing well, for anybody that is a Pats fan or just a Belichick fan in general. But again, I imagine there will be some people that transfer that will say that he's, too mean, too hard on them, too much of an asshole. But, sometimes you got to find that right balance of coach and a friend, and being able to gain the respect. So he's going to be a hard ass for a reason. And hopefully North Carolina ends up being better than they have been with him. First pitch from Castillo to low. Takes a strike looking high and away. 0-1 count. Yeah, he's already a gold digger and a bunch of other things that they've already trademarked and whatnot. So, between him and his girlfriend, fiance, future wifey, and whatnot. So, 0-1 pitch, fouled off, high and inside. But there was like 4 or 5 things that he ended up trademarking for a number of reasons. Things that are with him, things are with his fiance girlfriend, and obviously both of them together based off like business ventures and whatnot. So sounds like she has used a lot of his money already to buy property. So we'll see where it goes. But I guess if Bill is happy, then, it's none of our business. 0-2 pitch. High and away, fouled off. No balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to low. September baseball is here, and this is the push, and I'm glad that we have Rivas and Harry Ford, available. We don't have Dylan Moore anymore. We don't have Donovan Solano. We got rid of him. We got rid of Rowdy Tellez. The only really weak link that we have left is maybe Carlos Vargas. But other than that, it is what it is. Slider fouled off, low and away. No balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to low. Come on, Luis. You've been very shaky lately, you and Miller. Even though Miller on the last start was decent, pretty good. But again, it's like, I feel like once Miller, finds his rhythm after the injury, I think I trust him more than Castillo. Castillo is like number 5 out of the 5 pitchers based off trust. 1-2 pitch and big swing and a miss, and down he goes. Down goes Low. There we go. But you never know. We'll see where it goes with La Piedra as Low strikes out swinging. There we go. And you don't expect a whole lot of Ks, out of Luis Castillo. You have to hope somewhere between 4 and 7. And if he gets more than 7, hallelujah, it's a party. But, I wouldn't be expecting a whole lot more than that, but normally in that 4 to 7 range is typically where he's at. But you could say that pretty much for every starter, unless they get into a rhythm early. Kirby, Wu, as well as Gilbert. If they get 5 Ks within the first 2 to 3 innings, then they can pace for 8 to 14. 1-0 pitch. Crushed foul by Jake Mangum. 1 ball and 1 strike here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. 0-0 here early between the Mariners and the Tampa Bay Rays. Happy Labor Day, everyone. Yeah, we got a few sound effects that I'm all out of the 12 options. Really, the only ones that are worth using as another pitch is crushed foul towards first base is obviously the dono train whistle for the obviously train whistle that we can use. And then I got a boo button, but hopefully we don't have to use the boo button too often. And if I'm using the boo button, that's probably not good. We're, either losing or we gave up a big home run or Carlos Vargas is in the game or something of that nature, but I think those will be the only ones that we'll use for the time being, but maybe we'll implement a few more. 1-2 pitch and crushed towards third base, foul. Bounced into the netting by the cameraman there. Watch your head. But we're already into the college football season, which is exciting. NFL starts off on Thursday, and I will be doing Cowboys and Eagles because the Mariners have the day off, and we'll continue to grind out pretty much every Mariner game here moving forward. Slow dribbler. Throw to first, and safe. And great run by Mangum. Almost looking like Julio Rodriguez running to first against the Guardians last night. Just not a play for Cole Young. Sitting there at second base, charging that baseball. Just not enough time. Nice job by Jake with the good hustle there to first. Next up is Richie Palacios. First pitch from Castillo to Palacios, high and away, 1-0 count. Sinker at 94 miles an hour by La Piedra. Yeah, and again, I'm only going to usually miss like a game a month if I decide to do a WWE. Throw to second, and safe. And JP's kind of looking around to seeing if he actually got him or not. I don't know if we're going to have a review. Let's take a quick replay here. Let's take a look. Big jump there by Mangum. Oh, he's safe. No, not even close. I mean, JP was kind of looking around initially from the, like, hey, maybe I got him. But yeah, after seeing that replay, no, you did not get him. Bottom of the second inning, 0-0 Mariners and Rays. And obviously the clash in Paris was the last WWE PLE on Peacock. Now it's all on ESPN, and we're having a monopoly now, them trying to buy out NFL Network and getting rights to WWE. It's not exactly what WWE or NFL fans want, everything under the ESPN umbrella, but I guess that's where we're at now. 2-0 pitch, low and at the knees. 3 balls and no strikes to Palacios. 3-0 pitch, and that is a walk. Come on, Luis. You got to be better, baby. And good patience there by Palacios by not, gambling on a swing. And next up, we're in the 8-hole, catcher Nick Fortes. And now with runners at first and second with 2 outs, we don't need a double play since we have 2 outs. We need a force out at third, a pop-up ground out, or, a rare punch out for Castillo. And hopefully we'll be able to get one. Cannot let them score here early. We don't want to be down 2-3-4-0. First pitch, high and away. Missing that strike zone by a few inches with the 4-seam fastball, 1-0 count. And I don't know if it's just Castillo, thinking that he still has the it factor for his speed, velocity, and location. But his numbers have been going down every single year since we got him in 2022 from the Reds. Now, when we first got him, he was good. He was one of the reasons why we made the postseason with Cal Raleigh, Julio, and Kirby in their rookie seasons. But in 2023 and 2024, those stats and analytics were going south. And this year, he had a little bit of a rebirth in his career earlier in the season, but then obviously within the last month or two has kind of, got back to his old ways, trying to throw through hitters right down the middle. And again, it's like, bro, you're not, going to be throwing 100 miles an hour through the hitters. They're not afraid of you. They might have been questioning you and afraid of you 3-4 years ago, but nobody is afraid of Luis Castillo in 2025. And I'm not sure if he realizes that, but hopefully we'll be able to get a couple cheap outs at some point with him. 1-0 pitch is high and away. 2 balls and no strikes with runners at first and second and 2 outs. 0-0 here early in the bottom of the second. And hard hit ball into right field, all the way to the wall. And Dominic Canzone cannot grab it. And I'm not sure if they're going to rule that a home run or not. And I guess they are. Wow. 3-run blast by Nick Fortes. Dominic Canzone jumped up, got a hand on the ball or a mitt on the ball, and then it kind of, bounced a few times and then back into play. But again, Luis Castillo doing Luis Castillo things. And that's why it's so important that we don't have this guy on the team next year. And then we can have Cade Anderson take his spot because, great effort by, Dominic Canzone, and he got it in the mitt, and then it bounced off the mitt and then right in front of him into the dirt. But, hard to win games when you're giving up 3-run blasts like that. And again, I guess we have a time to be able to use this. Luis Castillo, 3-run blast. They're going to review it here to see if it actually was a 3-run blast or not. But we do have something to be able to celebrate. Flying Monk with a 5-er. Now we're at 10. Appreciate you. Stacks, Racks with a little Cactus Jack. And now we're at 10 on the Dono train. Appreciate you. Call is confirmed. It's a home run. Well, that's fucking terrible. And again, just as, we are talking about Castillo trying to throw through hitters, again, almost like on cue. My ESP is usually pretty good, but come on, my guy. We need someone better than you. You ain't cutting it. But again, Emerson Hancock and Logan Evans, they're not good enough either. We really are going to need Durangelo to take that leap at some point. But Cade Anderson, I assume, will be the 5th guy next year. And, based on how Castillo is pitching, I almost kind of wish we could bring Cade up this year, for this, playoff push. But that's not going to be possible. Now we're down 3-0. Next up is Tristan Gray. First pitch is high and away. 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike swinging, high and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike from Castillo to Gray. 1-1 pitch. Pitch is inside with a four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour, missing the strike zone by inches. 2 balls and 1 strike from Castillo to Gray. And again, since he gave up this 3-run blast, he can't give up any more. Hopefully that's the only home run he gives up, because if he gives up any more, we probably lost, unless the bats come alive, and I'm hoping that they will. But, it's been tough for us to even get to 5 lately. So not ideal when you end up giving up a 3-run jack. Wish it was a solo dinger. It would have, still been painful, but not as bad as a 3-run jack. 2-1 pitch, fouled off behind the plate by Gray. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to Gray. And popped up into center field. Julio is there. And that is out number 3, but not after the 3-run blast there by the Tampa Bay Rays. And not ideal when you end up giving up a 3-run blast to an 8-hole hitter in Nick Fortes. Mangum and Palacios were on board as well. And, again, he's got a problem with walking and getting ahead of the count. And, again, you got to give Nick Fortes that love that he deserves to get. But, again, puts us in a deep hole early, 3-0 Tampa. And now we're going to need to be able to score at least a run to stop the bleeding within the next 2 innings. Hopefully we get it here. Next up in the 8-hole shortstop, J.P. Crawford. Batting second in the 9-hole, second baseman Cole Young. And batting third, left fielder with a single to start off the game and stole second, but got caught sleeping in between second and third. And that's the 3rd time in the last few games that he's been thrown out in between the bases, and not good. Hopefully he'll be able to make up for it with a homer, playing his former team and coming back home, Randy Arozarena. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Playing down to the competition. That's something that we're, unfortunately, we're very good at. But again, if Castillo, and this is a big what if, but if Castillo doesn't give up any more, and he can go to at least the 5th inning, and we can score at least 1 run within the next 2 innings, to kind of stop the bleeding, we're going to have a chance to come back. But again, if we don't get anything, until like maybe the 7th inning, once the Baz starting pitcher exits, it's still possible that we come back. But what's the score going to be at that point? Is it going to be still 3-0? Is it going to be 5-0? Is it going to be 6-0? So it's very instrumental that we get at least 1 to kind of just stop the bleeding, put the Band-Aid on, and then just kind of go from there. Because the longer that you're sitting at a donut and a 0, it's not ideal. And first pitch from Baz to JP, high and away with a 4-seam fastball, 1-0 count. Come on, JP. We need you to get on base, and we need that swagger, that aura. Let's go, JP. And if they're going to be able to get home runs, out of the bottom end of the lineup, that means that we need to match. Canzone, JP Crawford, or Cole Young may need to homer tonight for us to get back into the matchup. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike from Baz to Crawford. And obviously having Julio, Cal, Randy, and Polo homer would be ideal as well. And hitting deep into right field, all the way back to the wall though, and caught. And Mariners have been hitting quite a few baseballs deep here tonight, but no wind to blow them out. And that is 1 away. But a nice hard hit ball there by JP that could lead to something later. Next up, second baseman, Cole Young. Let's go, Cole. We're going to need you, baby. Sometimes it's those most unexpected players. It's like, people already assume, Randy and Cal and Julio and Naylor and Gino and Polo, to get the job done. But, what about the bottom 3? You don't really expect a whole lot out of Dominic Canzone, JP Crawford, and Cole Young. And when they do explode with a big, single, double, triple, ground rule double home run, sometimes that is the difference between us winning and losing. First pitch, takes a strike looking low and away with the knuckle curve, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, cutter inside, good eye by Cole Young. 1 ball and 1 strike from Baz to Young. Top of the 3rd inning, 3-0 Rays. 1-1 pitch, high and inside, 2 balls and 1 strike from Baz DeYoung. I think, it might take a couple years, for Durangelo, who's more of a project player, going from pitching from the left side and the right side. But I do think it's possible with Cade's talent and, winning a natty, at LSU, and obviously, our struggles with our starting rotation. It's like Emerson Hancock, Logan Evans, and Luis Castillo are not good enough. Miller can be a part of Wu, Gilbert, and Kirby, but we need one more. And we don't even have any lefties as a starter, so that would be another reason to be able to match up against other teams a little bit better. And 3-1 pitch, and that's a walk to Cole Young. We'll take that. But hopefully we can bring up Cade next year. And if it's not next year, it definitely will be the year after. But really hoping it's next year, because we could really use a left-handed pitcher in the starting rotation and, someone to be able to get excited about, in the rotation rather than Luis Castillo. Next up is Randy Arozarena. Now, Randy ended up getting a single to start off against his former team, which is great. Stole second, great, but then was 8 feet off the bag and got caught sleeping, probably taking in the scenery, going against his former team. And he's been thrown out on the base paths 3 times in the last few games. Now, that one against the Guardians where, they were blocking third base, I don't really count that one as much, but still, Polo's got thrown out in between the bags. Randy 3 times. That's unacceptable, especially when you're going to be playing down to the competition. We need to be able to keep every guy, on the base paths and eventually coming home. 1-1 pitch, low and inside. 2 balls and 1 strike to Randy Arozarena. Come on, Randy. Make up for that blunder that you had early in the matchup. We need you. And hopefully he'll be instrumental against his former team. Ford is not starting. He got called up, but he's not in the starting lineup yet. His natural position is catcher, so it still goes Cal Raleigh, Mitch Garver, and then Harry Ford. But they could put Harry Ford at DH, at some point, and obviously having Harry Ford over Mitch Garver at DH would be acceptable. And they brought up Leo Rivas as well. So big swing and a miss by Randy. Nice punch out by Baz, and that is 2 away. Nice job by Shane. We're not haters here. Bringing the electricity against Randy. And that is 2 away. Next up is Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh. And we're going to need homers, by Cal and Julio in this series. And hopefully today, let's go Cal. Bring the juice, baby. Tridents up. Tridents up. We need our dynamic duo to get it going. And obviously, first at bat for Cal, he almost homered. It went all the way back to the wall, right on the sweet spot, but just no wind. So hopefully this time around or later in the matchup, we can get a Cal Raleigh dinger. And hopefully it's more than just a solo dinger, 2-run jack, 3-run blast, or possibly a grand salami. Popped up. And Junior Caminero is there at third. And that is out number 3. Go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. We're down by 3, but it's not over yet. But again, hopefully we can score at least 1 in the next couple innings here. Again, it's going to be an uphill battle, and we got to pray that Castillo doesn't give up any more and can go 5 or 6 innings. That's a big what if. But and Castillo is type of player lately where he gives up more than 1 home run most of the time. Usually it's like 2 to 4 homers he gives up. So hold your breath. And hopefully if he does give up another home run, it can't be another 3-run blast or a 2-run jack or a grand salami. If he gives up 1 more, it has to be a solo dinger. If it's anything bigger than that, this one might be over unless the bats come alive. That's big facts. Tridents up. Let's go M's. Not over yet, though. Let's get it. But we brought up Harry Ford finally. Imagine if we would have brought up Harry Ford months ago for Dylan Moore, and got rid of Donovan Solano earlier and kept Leo Rivas, who can actually play shortstop, second base, DH. He can hit. He can play great defense. He can steal bags. You got to go back to small ball, and again, it took them way too long, but at least they finally got it right with extra, roster spots available here in the 1st of September. But just imagine if we would have got rid of, Dylan Moore and Donovan Solano earlier and had Rivas and Harry Ford, maybe we have 3, 4, 5 more wins at this point. Maybe we're leading the division over the Astros if they would have done that. And Ben has been playing well in AAA. His hitting has gotten much better, and he's probably the next guy that could possibly get a call-up. But again, we also have to remember Victor Robles is suspended. So once Victor comes back, another individual will have to go to AAA. But we'll see what ends up happening. But we want to make sure we have the best guys available. And honestly, Rivas deserves a spot on the team. So underrated if you actually have followed his stat line through AAA and on the team this year. First pitch from Castillo to Simpson. Foul behind the plate, 0-1 count. Chandler Simpson in the box. Luis Castillo on the mound. Slow dribbler. And Naylor hustling to first. Toe tap on the bag. And wants to prevent Simpson from stepping on him. And does. One away. Good defense there by Naylor. A little bit faster than Ty France, and obviously faster than Rowdy Tellez or Donovan Solano. Next up, first baseman Yandy Diaz. First pitch to Diaz, in there for a strike. 0-1 pitch, high and away with the four-seam fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike from Castillo to Diaz. 1-1 pitch, low and away. Slider missing the strike zone by a few inches there. Mariners fielding percentage, we're 6th in MLB, so we're very good at defense. And when you want to make a deep run in the playoffs, you have to have good pitching and defense. And right up the middle, big base knock there by Yandy Diaz, a crafty hitter here for the Tampa Bay Rays. Next up, second baseman in the 3-hole, Brandon Lowe. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes. And if we can have someone keep me updated on where we're at on the likes there, so that way we can keep everybody honest. We're at 10 on the dono train. And I haven't looked to see how many subs that we've attained at the moment. Let's take a quick peek where we're at. Okay, let's see. All right, looks like we're at 57. So 43 more to go and we'll hit the goal. Let's see if we can get there. One-oh pitch, fouled off. High and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Castillo to Lowe. Bottom of the 3rd inning, 3-0 Rays. Castillo on the mound, Lowe in the box. And crushes that one into left field. Over Randy's head. Jesus Christ. Julio gets it off the wall. And coming home and safe. Head first slide by Yandy Diaz. And now it's 4-0 Tampa Bay. Come on, Randy. Gained 2 subs so far. 79 to go to get to 21,700. I mean, Randy didn't really have a play on that ball, but he should have been a little bit deeper. He was obviously covering a little too shallow. Randy was shallow, Julio was deep, and if he was on the same level as Julio, he would have caught that. And hit right up the middle, and here you go, another base knock, Junior Caminero. And Julio with a throw home late, and it's 5-0 Tampa Bay. And out at second by Caminero. At least we ended up getting the out there. Got a little bit greedy, but it shows you how terrible Luis Castillo is. I mean, he doesn't deserve to be on this team. I'm saying, I know there's people that probably love him, but again, if you've actually looked at the stats and the analytics, he's been fucking terrible. Again, it's not trustworthy. Pitching it right down the middle. Like, what do you think? You're pitching like you're Aroldis Chapman or Mason Miller? You don't pitch 102. They can see your stuff, And again, I have zero confidence when he's on the mound. Again, I feel more confident with Miller Hell, I even feel more confident with Logan Evans and Emerson Hancock than I do with Luis Castillo, and that's the honest truth. Hurting us, man. Unbelievable. 5-0 Tampa. 1-0 pitch, fouled off, low at the knees. And again, this is going to be very difficult to come back from. Not impossible. If we can get like a 2-run blast or a 3-run blast by somebody to kind of cut into the lead and we're only down by a couple by the 8th or the 9th, we'll have a chance. But, who knows how much longer that we can sustain this. He's already given up 5 runs in the 3rd inning. And, we typically want guys to go 6 or 7 innings, at the least 5. But hell, if we keep him in even for 5 innings, what the hell is the score going to be? 10-0? I can't wait for Cade Anderson, man. And that will be the guy. Bottom of the 3rd, 5-0 Rays. 1 pitch, fouled off behind the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Castillo to low. But we have to keep it within 5. That's kind of the cutoff point for the Mariners this year. If we get down by more than that, it's really hard to come back. But if we get down by 4 or 5, we have proven that we can come back from those numbers and still win a game, or at least 4 extras and make it interesting. But, Castillo ain't it. Two-two pitch. Pitch is high and inside, almost hits low. Count now is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes from Castillo to low. 3-2 pitch and chop foul towards first base. You got to understand also too, it's like he doesn't have the same type of stuff as Miller, Kirby, Wu, and Gilbert. Majority of his pitches are going to be a 4-seam fastball where he can't hit his spot, right? And then he gets absolutely drilled. And then if he goes for an off speed with like a slider, it's not fooling anybody. Like, he doesn't have the repertoire like a lot of the other guys that can go 5-6 pitches deep. He really sticks to, 2 pitches for the most part. And, with those 2 pitches, he ends up getting out number 3 there on low. But again, if you're only going to pitch a slider and a 4-seam fastball, people are going to figure you out really quick if you're not mixing in other things. And on top of that, you can't really strike out that many guys that often. He's going to get a few, throughout a game if he can make it that long. But again, the intimidation factor, maybe when he was on the Reds and on that first year that we got him in 2022, yeah, he was good then, but he really hasn't been very good in the last 3 years. And again, it's not going to hurt my feelings when he's no longer on the team and Cade Anderson is the starter over him. All right, we got to get the bats going. It's already not looking good here early, but hopefully we can find a way. You have to have faith. All right, next up, 0 for 1 with a K. Single-handedly ended up winning the game for us yesterday with his hustle to first base. We're going to need home runs. 0 for 1 with a K. Julio Rodriguez did predict the home run by Julio, and we're going to need some. Let's get it. Batting second, 0 for 1, first baseman, Josh Naylor. Let's go, Nails. We're going to need you to bust out a home run, a single or a double. We need you to swipe some bags as well. We need to get back to small ball, bunting, moving guys over, not getting thrown out on the base paths. Let's go. And batting third, 1 for 1. We're probably going to need a home run from you today as well. Good vibes only, Eugenio Suarez. Let's go, baby. And again, all it's going to take is just 1 home run to make it 5-2, 5-3, or hell, even just 5-1, and then we can start going. That's kind of how the Mariners operate. When we're getting drilled, right, it's like, you're on E and you ran out of gas. But once we get the tank filled up and we get that first run, typically those next few runs happen pretty quickly after, whether it be in the same inning or the following inning, or if we end up getting bases loaded and we don't score anything, then the next inning we do. So we just have to hope that the bats come alive, and a lot of the hard hit balls have been close to the wall. So it's not like, they've been, striking out every single batter. We just need to be able to find a way to dig deep here. Come on, Julio. Big swing and a miss on the first pitch from Shane Baz, 0-1 count. And if we can bunt, again, that's a good, thing to have. Leo Rivas, he can bunt. Same thing with Victor Robles. We don't have access to them. But at some point, we're going to need to play small ball. Got to find different ways to be able to win baseball games. And again, 50% of our runs are home runs. So it's like if we don't homer, we don't win. And we normally need 2 to 4 homers to win. And again, when you're in a 5-0 hole playing down to the competition, not having good pitching and bullpen haven't been good. Hitting has been okay. At times it's been better than others in certain games, but really what's costing us games, on the road is the pitching and the bullpen. Hitting has been doing okay. Some games pretty good, some games shitty, but overall the hitting has been there. It's really been the pitching and the bullpen that have blown it for us. 0-2 pitch, knuckle curve low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Baz to Rodriguez. I know, that's a Dan Wilson thing. Again, if I was managing this team, I would have guys like Victor Robles, Leo Rivas, Cole Young, JP Crawford. I would be having a lot of these guys bunt, once in a while. Like if we ended up bunting, 1 to 3 times a game, you're not going to get on every time. But, again, for a guy that might be struggling a little bit, there's a wild throw at first. You might be able to turn a bunt into a double, and maybe that double comes home. It's like, you got to be able to think outside the box instead of just traditional thinking. 1-2 pitch to Julio. Pitch is low and away. Good eye by J-Rod. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Yeah, we were doing it in the beginning of the year, and what happened? We won 9 consecutive series in a row. And then when we stopped doing it, what happened? We went from averaging 6 runs a game in that 9 consecutive win streak, and then we ended up scoring 1 to 3 runs. We stopped bunting. We weren't stealing bags, and we got absolutely our ass kicked. Slow dribbler, throw to first, and down goes Julio for 1 away. But hopefully we can get back to a little bit of that small ball. Next up, first baseman, it's Nails, Josh Naylor. And if we can get a solo dinger out of Naylor to just get us on the board, or from Gino, again, it'll feel a hell of a lot better than sitting at a donut here. And Naylor, slow dribbler up the middle. There we go. Nice job, Nails. Sometimes you just got to talk it into existence. And there we go. Naylor with a beautiful single up the middle. And now we need a 2-run blast by Eugenio Suarez. And if we can get the 2-run blast right here, we're back in business. Come on, baby. Got to rough up Baz. And it's not like Shane is incredible. He's 8-11, 5.19 ERA. Gino, slow dribbler, double play attempt, throw to first, and double play by Gino. Damn it. Everything not going our way at this point. And that is the end of the inning for the Mariners. Come on, Gino. That's the last thing that we needed. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 4th inning and see who's up next for the Rays. Hopefully that'll be the only double play that we hit into all game. Can't afford to be hitting into double plays when you're fucking down 5-0. Next up, center fielder in the 6 hole, 1-for-1 with a run, Jake Mangum. Batting second, 0-for-0 with a run and a base on ball, DHing Richie Palacios. And batting third, 1-for-1 with a 3-run blast, Nick Fortes. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. All right, 8-7 record, ERA of 3.75, but I feel like lately the ERA is like 13.75 out of Luis Castillo, but we'll see where it goes. But again, it's not over yet. But again, you know, we need to definitely step it up. At some point, we might have to wait for Shane Baz to exit, and then they have a meltdown by a pitcher or two in the pen. But again, we have had a reputation of having a few meltdowns in the pen ourselves, and we can't afford to have Castillo being bad and the bullpen being bad and then not being able to hit. That's a recipe for disaster. 1-1 pitch, high and away, four-seam fastball, which he can't hit no matter what. And again, that's Luis's problem, four-seam and sinker and four-seam. You're not fooling anybody, and you're not very good with those pitches either. 2-1 pitch, in there for a strike. Takes a strike looking there by Mangum. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to Mangum. Never too quick. I'm being real. You know, this is a kind of the cutoff point, 4 or 5 runs. But again, I've been a fan of this team for 40 years, so I think I know this team better than most. Two-two pitch, high and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to Mangum. Yeah, and again, when most people are watching their favorite team down 5-0, I mean, what's the natural reaction? It's not good, Again, it's like, you got to have good starting pitching. You got to have good bullpen. You got to have good defense. You got to be able to hit. You got to grab a couple home runs in the game. And if you're not hitting on any of those categories, really besides maybe defense, again, there's still half of the game to go. And things can, obviously change. But we're not very good on the road, and that's part of it too. We play down to the competition. We're 32-37 on the road. ERAs are, doubled, by the pitching staff on the road compared to being at home. And that's not just, throwing something out there. That's actually stats. It's real. Slow dribbler towards third and another single. And he's going for 2. Throw to second. Safe. Nice job by Mangum. And next up, DHing Richie Palacios. So far, the Mariners don't have the bats going yet, but again, once Baz goes out, and I think that's maybe one of the most frustrating things is like when you get a pitcher that doesn't have a good record, that doesn't have a good ERA, and you're on the road and, you can't hit them. It's like you can't do anything. Like nobody can do anything. And, again, now if we had that same pitcher at home, things would be different. Maybe the pitching still struggles with Castillo, but maybe we're only down 3-0 or 2-0 instead of 5. And, maybe the bats have got us a run at this point or 2. So, it's the mindset, of being on the road. And again, most teams are obviously better at home than on the road. The only team that's good on the road out of all 30 this year is the Milwaukee Brewers, who are typically 9, 10, 11 games above 500. But even for some of the elite teams, they're below 500 on the road, at 500 on the road, or only a couple games above. It's not like every single elite team is amazing on the road. I mean, it's very difficult to win on the road in MLB, not just in 2025, but just in general. Bottom of the 4th inning, 5-0 Rays. Runner at second, 1-0 count from Castillo to Palacios. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike in the corner. 4-seam fastball, 1 ball and 1 strike from Castillo to Palacios. And we got Carlos Vargas warming up in the pen. Golly. One pitch, takes a strike swinging high and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Castillo to Palacios. We will not take any Mariner slander just because we played you in the Guardian series. You're not going to shit on our players. They don't work like that here, my guy. 2-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, and Castillo with a rare punch out on Palacios, and that is 1 away. Down goes Richie. Next up, catcher Nick Fortes, who ended up hitting the 3-run blast on Castillo to give him that early 3-0 lead. First pitch in there for a strike. 0-1 count. Big swing and a miss. Low and at the knees. Castillo on the mound. Fortes in the box. 5-0 Tampa. Oh, 1 pitch in there for another strike inside. Takes a strike looking with the slider. 82 miles an hour. No balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to Fortes. And hopefully this will be the last opportunities for runs for Castillo. We can't have him give up any more. I mean, 3 was kind of the max. He definitely put us in a big hole, down 5 now. 0-2 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Castillo to Fortes. Bottom of the 4th inning, 5-0 Tampa. 1-2 pitch, low and away with the slider. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Nick Fortes. Yeah, got to find a way, to try to win 2 out of 3. And then we got the Thursday off, Cowboys and Eagles. I'll be streaming that. NFL debut. And then we got a 3-game set against the Atlanta Braves on the road. And even though the Braves aren't really good this year, that doesn't mean that we're going to go in there and kick their ass. I mean, it's going to be something that we're going to have to earn. And again, more times than not, as long as we don't have to have Castillo pitch, we're going to have a better chance to win if we have the others, playing. 2-2 pitch, low and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Nick Fortes. I mean, unless he can start forcing some, pop-ups and ground outs, but, it's either a strikeout or a big play. There's not really an in-between. 3-2 pitch. And that's strike 3. There we go. 2 away. There we go, Luis. Nice job. But again, hard to be able to win when you're only throwing 2 pitches all game. Sinkers, sliders, 3 pitches. Sinkers, sliders, and 4-seam fastballs. But for a majority of the game so far, it's been 2 pitches, and then he just has started to mix in that 3rd pitch with the sinker. Next up is Tristan Gray. First pitch, big swing and a miss, 0-1 count. Yeah, I mean, we were down 5-0 to the Astros at the beginning of the year, right? In the 8th inning, and it was terrible. Worse than what we're seeing here. And then we ended up scoring 7 runs in the 8th and the 9th combined and won 7-6. So I'm not saying that's going to happen today, but again, it's not over just yet. I mean, again, you are at a point where it's not looking good, but we have been able to come back from 4 or 5 runs before. Slow dribbler, and Naylor is there, toe tap on the bag, and that is out number 3. And hopefully we can finally get on the board with a home run to kind of stop the bleeding. Yeah, and again, you have to be mentally tough to be a fan of any Pacific Northwest team. Whether it's Ducks, Beavers, Cougars, Huskies, Kraken, Seahawks, Blazers, no matter what it is, Mariners, it's not going to be easy. The thing is, if you're a fan of any team in Oregon and Washington, it may take years to get good. But once we end up getting good, we're like championship good, and there's no denying that. Sometimes it just takes a little bit longer. We're small market teams in Oregon and Washington, but, it's just unfortunate that we've been having struggles with our pitching staff and our bullpen lately, and we're not very good on the road. But again, we have more home games here in September than we do on the road, thank God. And, if we can win 2 out of 3 against this team and 2 out of 3 against the Braves, that'll put us in a good position, going the rest of the way in September. And plus, we're fans, we're human, right? It's like, what are we supposed to do? Get fucking excited when we're down 5-0 and act like we're up 5-0? We're human here, We have emotions, we're going to go through the ups and the downs. And let's be real, for a majority of this year, it's been more up than down, There has been some, bad road trips, when we ended up going on the road, with the O's and the Mets and, having those fucking rain delays and going 2-7. No one likes going fucking 2-7 on the road. But again, it's a part of baseball. And, it shows you that changes need to be made. And you need to get rid of the shitty players, and like Dylan Moore and, some of these other guys that are weak links, and then bringing up guys that potentially could help us win. Harry Ford today, Leo Rivas. So, maybe it was a little too late, but, and we got Victor Robles after the, suspension, which will help us win games. So, again, there's a lot to look forward to. And again, we may not win the division over the Astros, but as long as we make the playoffs, we have a chance. It's the Astros, the Mariners, the Tigers, the Blue Jays, and then if you want to throw in the Yankees or the Red Sox, you can, but, we have a chance. First pitch from Baz DePolo, high and away with a cutter, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike swinging low and away, 1 ball and 1 strike from Baz DePolo. But you can definitely tell the people that watch games on the regular and people that don't, people that are just betting on games and then they lose their bet and they bitch and moan, that's not our fault. That if you ended up making a bad parlay or a bad bet, we're here to be able to, watch the Mariners and the opponents, give love where love needs to be given. Greatness is everywhere. And we're trying to root the Mariners to the postseason and beyond. We're the only team that hasn't made a World Series, and we're fucking hungry. 2-1 pitch, high and away, 3 balls and 1 strike from Baz DePolo. I've been a fan of this team for 40 years. There's, a few people in the room that have been a fan just as long as me or longer. And again, it's different than being a fan that just started watching and rooting on this team the last couple years. It's like you have to understand we've only been good 4 times in 40 years. But now we have a chance to go on a generational run where we're good almost every single year for the next 20. So, you have to be patient. 3-1 pitch, fouled off, high and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Jorge Polanco. Yeah, you can look at ERA and look at numbers, but it's about trust and the eye test. And Castillo hasn't been good this year. He had moments in the early part of the season where he was pretty good. And down goes Polo on strikes, and that's 1 away. But I don't trust him one bit. Again, even Miller, has to get back to being healthy, but again, we know Logan Evans can't win on the road, but I have more faith in Emerson Hancock than I do with Castillo, and that's saying something, and there's not a whole lot of faith there. Just got to wait for Cade Anderson to get the call up next year. Next up is Dominic Canzone. But again, we have a sensational farm system, right? And we got a great team, top to bottom. This is the best team that we've had since 2001. So you got to take the ups and the downs and the peaks and the valleys. It's not going to just be us kicking everyone's ass, every single game. There's going to be some down moments, but there's also going to be some miraculous comebacks as well. First pitch from Baz to Canzone, high and away, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch from Baz to Canzone, high and away, knuckle curve to a changeup, 2 balls and no strikes to Dominic Canzone. And to get back in this game, we may need Dom, JP, or Cole to homer, to get us back in it. There's a lot of pressure on the first 6 guys in the order, but, the last 3, not a whole lot of expectations. So sometimes those guys got to overachieve. 2-0 pitch, high and away, 3 balls and no strikes from Baz to Canzone, and Dom should be able to force a walk in this at-bat. 3-0 pitch takes a strike. And in most cases, pitch number 5, if you go to a 3-0 count, typically is a ball. Let's see if that's the case from Baz here, and we can get a walk on 5 pitches. 3-1 pitch, and that's a walk. There we go. My ESP is going to be on point more times than not. And again, if you watch baseball from beginning to end, like myself and others in the room, there will be times where we will be able to predict what happens in the game. All right, baby. Next up, JP Crawford. And maybe that's the beginning of the end of the meltdown for Baz. Just getting that first walk, that first guy that you hit, to kind of shake the confidence. And hopefully the cobwebs will be shaken off and JP can get on base as well. First pitch to JP and fouls it behind the plate. 0-1 count. Come on, JP. We need you, baby. I need that swagger, that aura, and that energy. 0-1 pitch, crushes that one, foul towards third base. No balls and 2 strikes to J.P. Crawford. And it's not like we're striking out left and right. Really what it's coming down to, we're hitting deep balls, but they're just staying in play. Just got to be able to hope the wind picks up, later tonight, and we can connect on a deep long ball once or twice. Pitch is low and away. Good eye by JP. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Baz to Crawford. One-two pitch, and JP dribbles it down first base, foul. Count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes from Baz to Crawford. And again, a lot of the guys in the bullpen have good numbers overall, but if you've been watching games lately, Brash, Bizzardo, Spire, and Mooney haven't really been trustworthy, again, compared to what they were doing at the beginning of the year. And then there was moments where, Carlos Vargas is terrible. And then when the other, Penn guys are supposed to be good, then he starts to play okay. It's like everything is like Stranger Things and we're in the upside down. Like we need to get back to having our good players playing well as JP strikes out looking, and that's 2 away. Come on, JP. Next up is Cole Young. We could really use a 2-run blast out of Cole Young here to get us back in the game. Let's go, Cole. Not really a home run hitter, but again, we're going to need a little bit of Mariner magic if we're going to be able to come back in this one. First pitch is high and away, 1-0 count. I still believe we can come back. Let's go. One-0 pitch, takes a strike on the corner. 1 ball and 1 strike to Cole Young. Nasty knuckle curve there by Shane Baz. But with a shitty, record overall and a shitty ERA, kind of crazy to think that we're still at 0. But again, it's the road trip. It's like playing on the road is completely different from the Mariners and playing at home. And you could say that pretty much for every team except the Brewers, who are not phased on the road. 1-1 pitch, high and away with the 4-seam fastball. 2 balls and 1 strike to Cole Young. Maybe we can get Cole to force a walk so we can get runners at first and second for Randy. And then Randy can come up with a 3-run blast for some magic. But let's see if Cole can get a single or take a walk, because we definitely need to get guys on board. Top of the 5th, 5-0 Tampa Bay. 2-1 pitch inside. Good eye by Cole Young. 3 balls and 1 strike from Baz to Young. Let's see if we can get a walk here. Come on, baby. We have a chance to get 1 to 3 runs if we can get to Randy. And we can go on a rally with 2 outs, but it really is up to Cole here not to strike out, pop up or ground out. Just find a way to get walked or to get a single. Big swing and a miss there. Nice pitch by Baz right down the middle. Count now is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Cole Young. Come on, Cole. For the love of the sports gods, come on. 3-2 pitch and slow dribbler up the middle. Throw to first, and that's out number 3. Brutal. We're going to have to wait for Shane to exit, it looks like, for us to get going. We only have 3 hits. I guess it's better than 0, but we're down 5. And again, giving up a 3-run blast to an 8-hole hitter, not ideal. But again, Louise hasn't really been that trustworthy lately. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Maybe they should have put Harry Ford in the lineup today. Maybe should have thrown him at DH today. And that maybe would have given us that extra juice and swagger that we needed. Next up for the Rays, 0 for 2, left fielder Chandler Simpson. Batting second, 1 for 2 with a run, first baseman Yandy Diaz. And batting third, 1 for 2 with a run, RBI and a K, second baseman Brandon Lowe. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. All right, like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. We have 60 people plus in the room that haven't hit the like button. We're at 73, so we're trying to get to a hundo. 27 to go to hit the goal. Let's go. Let's go. 73. Now we're at 74. 26 to go. Let's get it, baby. And we're at 10 on the dono train. And we got Carlos Vargas in the game now. And hopefully we're not down by a billion after Vargas is done. 0-1 pitch. Low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Vargas to Simpson. One pitch, slow dribbler, right up the middle, flip to first, to Naylor, 1 away. There we go. All right, Vargas. And I know Randy's having fun being, back home, but again, you can't have this being like a fucking honeymoon and you're just trying to, talk with all the fans and not focus on the game. Randy seems unfocused. And again, I get it. You're coming back home, but you can do that pre-game and post-game. You can't get distracted in between innings. And again, it's like, I get it. You want to be able to vibe with the old fan base and whatnot. But after getting thrown out in between second and third, you need to be focused, my guy. Instead of just collecting your paycheck and acting like this game doesn't matter. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss there by Diaz. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Vargas to Diaz. Come on, Randy, focus. 1-2 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Yandy Diaz. 2-2 pitch, crushed into right field, and great hustle by Dominic Canzone, and that is 2 away. Nice job by Dom. Good defense. Bailing out Carlos Vargas again. Next up is second baseman Brandon Lowe. Bottom of the 5th, 5-0 Rays. Nobody on with 2 outs. Vargas obviously replacing Luis Castillo, who is terrible and overall hasn't been really that great for us this year, especially lately. Was better earlier in the year, but lately has not been good, has been a liability. 0-1 pitch, fouled off right down the middle. No balls and 2 strikes. See, this is exactly what we kind of needed from Castillo. Vargas to be able to get bailed out by some good defense with some pop-ups in the outfield and, some, kind of cheap foul balls to get ahead of the count 0-2. But it's like you barely ever see Castillo in an 0-2 count. Throw to first and got him. Good throw. Wasn't wild. And Naylor with the catch, and that is out number 3. Am I allowed to say this? Carlos Vargas, you actually did a good job? My goodness. All right, Vargas. I mean, normally when we're talking about Carlos Vargas, we're normally, we're normally doing something like this, right? But again, for him to be able to do a solid and not give up any home runs or RBIs, good job. But I guess that's what we get, right? All of our other guys that we normally rely on, Brash, Bizzardo, Spire, Mooney, they're shaky. And then now all of a sudden Carlos Vargas has got it fucking figured out. Well, I guess that's good for him and us Mariner fans, but we got to hope that, the normal guys that are good can get back to that. All right, we need to get back on the board. And again, just observing Randy, vibing with the fans. We're not going to, I'm hoping that he can find a way to homer or make some big hits, but he is not focused, at least in game number 1. And it definitely shows. And hopefully game 2 and game 3, the homecoming will be a little bit over, and then he can get back to focusing on trying to win games, not just to be able to get chummy with the former players and the fan base. Next up, 0 for 2, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a K, Julio Rodriguez. But we're going to need, potential big swings by Cal and Julio, as well as Randy. And hopefully we can get on the board with these 3 guys. First pitch to Randy, slow dribbler, and a nice base hit into right field. There we go, Randy. Nice job. Way to bring that electricity. And here we go. This will be the inning that we score a run. Nice job by Randy. He does his job. Now we're looking for a 2-run blast by Cal Raleigh, or some type of single or double, and then maybe a 3-run blast by Julio. Got to get on the board this inning. This is the inning where we have to get at least 1 run, minimum. Top of the 6th. We're down 5-0. Randy with another single. Don't get caught on the base pass. I will lose my mind if Randy gets thrown out at second or is daydreaming in between first and second or second and third and gets thrown out again. First pitch to Cal, low and out the knees, 1-0 count. One 0 pitch from Baz. Cal with a dribbler and another single into right field. Here we go. Runners now at first and second. A little bit of a meltdown by Shane Baz, and that's exactly what we want. There we go. You ask for it and you get it. We need you, Randy. Delivered. We need you, Cal. He delivered. Now is time. We need a single, double, triple, or the best thing, a home run, 3-run blast by Julio Rodriguez to make it 5-3. Now, if we can get that home run by Julio, we're right back in business. Momentum will be in our favor. But again, we've got to make sure that we get on the board and score 1 to 3 runs this inning. No ifs, ands, or buts. Let's go. Yeah, I think Randy will have a chance to go yard at some point in the series. Maybe not today, but hopefully in game 2 and game 3. But he has been pretty clutch for us as of late. They're having a mound visit here. We'll see if that makes any difference. All right, J-Rod. Trident's up. Trident's up. Trident's up. Let's go. We got to talk this 3-run homer into existence. Let's go. But even if he ends up getting a single or a double and scoring 1 or 2, that will help too. But obviously, if we really want to get back into this game and feel the juice and the momentum, we got to get a 3-run blast by Julio, who has been cooking lately. He's approaching 30 home runs, 26 right now, and he's one of the best players in MLB after the All-Star break. First pitch, low and away, 1-0 count. Come on, Julio. But don't chase at those garbage pitches. Take the walk if it's there. Don't force it. And not every swing has to be a home run swing. You can swing for contact. 1-0 pitch from Baz. Julio crushes it foul towards third base into the Rays dugout. 1 ball and 1 strike from Baz to Julio. Yeah, it's been Moose time. I just didn't want to put him up after the fucking first or second inning. But we've obviously been overdue for the Moose for quite some time. But maybe that's exactly what we need, right? 1-1 pitch, Julio. Big swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Come on, Julio. Give me that 3-run blast. 1-2 pitch. Julio crushes it foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. All right, Mariner Moose, let's go. We need all the good luck charms that we can get. And based on the location of these pitches, it feels like now it will probably be a base hit for Julio, single or a double rather than a home run, unless Baz is, like Castillo and doesn't give a fuck and throws it right down the middle. But I highly doubt that'll happen. But I hope he does. 1-2 pitch. Pitch is low and inside, that's kind of the comfort zone for him. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Baz to Julio. But if Baz tries to go right down the middle, Julio will homer. But hopefully we get a single, double, or a home run. Don't get out, J-Rod. Come on now. This needs to be the beginning of the end for Shane Baz, who's already pitched pretty damn well in the first 6 innings. 2-2 pitch, and Julio pops up. Go out of play. Out of play. Out of play. And out of play. Thank God. Nothing is more frustrating than popping one up and the catcher getting it. Come on, J-Rod. Two-two pitch, fouled off. Top of the 6th inning, 5-0 Tampa. Runners at first and second with no outs. We have to score 1 to 3 runs in this inning. And with one swing, Julio can make it 5-3. He's been absolutely fantastic. He's been one of the best players in MLB after the break. 2-2 pitch from Baz. Julio! Hit it long, hit it deep, into left field, but caught. Damn it! Tag up. And nothing there. Wasn't hit deep enough. Julio. Crushed it, but just couldn't get... There's no wind out there today. And we've had a lot of hard hit balls out there, but if that wasn't a knuckle curve and that was a fastball, maybe it would have been out. But there wasn't that much, 88 miles an hour with the knuckle curve. Next up is Josh Naylor. Come on, Josh. Top of the 6th with runners at first and second. First pitch to Naylor, dribbler, and force out at second, and that is 2 away. Runners advance to second and third, though. There we go. And now we're going to need a 3-run blast by Eugenio Suarez. We have runners at second and third. We'll take an RBI single, RBI double to make it 5-1 or 5-2. But best case scenario, Gino, you end up going yard and making it 5-3. And we know Gino has that ability. Come on, baby. We got to get at least a 1 this inning. Runners at first and second with no outs. And we know Baz is, going to be done here pretty soon. He's at 79 pitches, so technically he could go next inning, which would not be ideal for us Mariner fans, but let's go, Gino. If there was ever a time that we needed a home run, it's fucking right now. First pitch, fouled off, and it goes towards that third base line, 0-1 count. Come on, Gino. Top of the 6th, 5-0 Tampa. Baz on the mound. And Gino in the box. 1 for 2 with a double earlier. Left on base today, 3 for the Mariners, only 1 for the Rays. Gino crushes it into right field. And foul. No balls and 2 strikes to Eugenio Suarez. Come on, baby. If I can't get the home run to make it 5-3, at least get that runner from third to come home, please. I mean, we've already been sitting here for fucking 6 innings at a 0. Can we at least get to 1 to at least feel good about ourselves? And then we can go from there. Come on, Gino. Top of the 6th, runners at second and third with 2 outs, 5-0 Rays. 0-2 pitch from Baz to Gino incoming. Pitch is high and inside, almost hits him in the face. Good reaction there by Gino. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Eugenio Suarez. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Good vibes only. Let's go. One-two pitch. And big strikeout there for Baz. Down goes Gino, and we leave 2 more stranded. Fuck. They only have 6 hits, and we have 5, but they have 5 runs, and we have 0. No errors for either team, and hopefully Baz will go out, because if he comes back out for the 7th inning, then we're only going to have the 8th and the 9th to score 5, and that's not ideal. Unless they end up being dumb and pull him early. But obviously, the way that he's been holding the Mariners to a 0, again, his pitch count is low. Baz is only at 83 pitches, so Got his ERA below 5. All right, let's see who's up next here for the Rays. Next up for the Rays, one of the better up-and-coming third basemen, Junior Caminero, absolute stud. Batting second in the 5 hole, right fielder Josh Lowe. And batting third, center fielder in the 6 hole, 2 for 2 with a run, Jake Mangum. Trident's up, let's go M's. We need your help, Moose. And I would assume they'll stick with Vargas again. Since we're down 5-0, they don't want to waste anybody else. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on the dono train, and 5 to 15 subs. Let's go, baby. All right, first pitch from Vargas to Caminero. High and inside, 1-0 count. Come on, Carlos. One 0 pitch inside to the sinker again. 2 balls and no strikes to Junior Caminero, who's absolutely fantastic. Next home run will be home run number 40 for him. 95 ribbies, too. He's on the cusp of 40 homers and 100 ribbies for being a pretty relatively young player. Best player on the team, no doubt. Fouls it off himself, and he's limping here a little bit with a 2-1 count from Vargas to Caminero. It would have been really great if we could have gotten an RBI or a home run, in that last inning, especially with runners at first and second with no outs. But, maybe that's the start of it. And then maybe this next inning is where we're actually going to get on the board. But we have to pray that they don't score any more, and we have to chip away. Score 1 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, 2 in the 9th, unless we can get a big inning of scoring like 3 or 4. But we haven't proven that we can do that yet. So 2-1 pitch fouled off. And that goes behind the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Vargas to Caminero. Two-two pitch. Pitch is inside. Good eye by Caminero. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Vargas to Caminero. Caminero crushes it towards third base. Fair. Run, Randy, you lazy ass. Golly, bench him. I never have seen a lazier left fielder in my life. And again, he started to get a little bit better, but again, when you end up having a single, or a double, that could turn into a single into a double into a triple, fucking hustle. Don't just jog to the ball. Nothing makes me more frustrated when we're down when you see a guy not trying. It's like Randy's on fucking vacation, This is not the World Baseball Classic, my guy. Fucking hustle. Christ. Unbelievable. Next up is Josh Lowe. I want to see guys hustle, and there's been so many plays this year that if Randy hustled and actually made a good throw with his strong arm, he could have held guys to singles instead of doubles and doubles instead of triples, but he's just fucking lazy. Irritating. And then getting thrown out in between the base paths on top of being lazy on defense. Come on, my guy. 0-1 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Josh Lowe. 1-1 pitch fouled off towards third base. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Vargas to Lowe. I mean, I'm not going to make things up. I watch every single game from beginning to end. I know I'm not the only one that notices that he just jogs often. Every once in a while, he'll make an amazing diving catch, and you're like, that's what you're supposed to do. But for every one amazing catch, there's like 9 fucking lollygagging, just jog into the ball, and letting guys get doubles when they should have been singles, and letting guys get triples that should have been doubles. It's just unacceptable, man. I mean, it's like he's acting like he's a fucking diva. 2-2 pitch, fouled off. And I get it. This is your homecoming back, to your place where you started, but again, we're in the playoff hunt. There's a time and a place to be able to, fraternize with the fans and the former teammates and whatnot before and after the game. But we expect him to be focused during, and he clearly isn't. 2-2 pitch. Fouled off towards first base. Count still remains 2 balls and 2 strikes from Vargas to Lowe. Mike in the building, what's good? Two pitch. High and away. Missing that strike zone by an inch. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Vargas to Lowe. 3-2 pitch. Slow dribbler towards first, foul. Count still remains 3 balls and 2 strikes from Vargas to Lowe. Come on, Carlos. Come on, Moose. Lowe in the box. Vargas on the mound. And big swing and a miss. And Vargas with a punch out. There we go. And that's rare. There we go, baby. Nice job. Things are already fucked up when Vargas is pitching better than Castillo, but that's what we're getting. And that is 1 away. Next up, center fielder having himself a good day. 2 for 2 with a run, Jake Mangum. Yeah, I have never seen an outfielder as lazy as him on any team ever. Like I said, and he was doing it on Tampa, but it seems like he does it even more. It's like if we actually want to be the no-fly zone, once Victor is back in right field, Victor hustles, Julio hustles. Randy acts like he's the best player on the team. Guess what? You're not. You're expendable. We're happy that you're there in left field, and you're the best left fielder we've had in a long time, but, it's unacceptable, man. It's like I love the home runs and I love the swagger and I love the energy, but I don't like the falling asleep in between the base paths and getting thrown out, trying to steal bags and in between the base paths and being lazy in left field. So for every one good thing he does, there's 3 things that aren't. But we'll see if that improves, but I don't think it will. I think that's just who he is. I mean, unless the coaches, go onto a tablet or an iPad and point and say, what the fuck is this? But again, you're not getting any accountability from Dan Wilson or the coaching staff, because if they did point it out, he wouldn't fucking do it again, and clearly they don't care, which is a problem. Bottom of the 6th, 5-0, Tampa Bay. 2-0 pitch, fouled off by Jake Mangum. 2 balls and 1 strike from Vargas to Mangum. Yeah, but it's all about being a complete player. Yeah, rooting for Chase too, but he has 0% chance of winning the championship this year. He hasn't been as consistent as he has been in years past. And a blooper right in front of Julio. And now we got runners on the corners with 1 out, and we need a double play desperately. Next up is DHing in the 7-hole, Richie Palacios. Yeah, I feel bad for your Alabama, but it shows you DeBoer isn't a good coach. He doesn't recruit the same way as Saban, and the buyout is $70 million to fire him. And again, it's like Alabama. Even if they don't have a great year, they don't usually lose game one. So it shows you like you're gonna have to have an elite coach to get back that program to where it was, and if you don't, you're gonna see a lot of what you've been seeing lately, which is unfortunate. They don't get the same players anymore with Saban there. First pitch from Vargas to Palacios, fouls it off. Low and at the knees, 0-1 count. And Vargas steps off the plate, fake throw to first. Oh, 1 pitch. Slow dribbler towards third. Double play. Throw to first. Got him. There we go. Big double play by the Mariners there. And again, nice job by JP. And a nice catch by Naylor at first. All right, now we got to get on the board. All right, we're going to be going here in the top of the 7th. So we need to score 1 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, 2 in the 9th. We got to kind of chip away. Let's see who's up next here for the Mariners, and hopefully we get that home run, to get us going. Leading off 0-for-2 with a K, second baseman Jorge Polanco. Batting second, 0-for-1 with a base on ball and a K, right fielder Dominic Canzone. And once this is Victor Robles, we're going to be a much better team. Canzone and Luke Raley ain't cutting it in right field. And batting third, 0-for-2 with a K, ice water in his veins, J.P. Crawford. Come on now. Got to find a way to, scratch and crawl and just scrap and find a way. Let's go. Chip away. 1 this inning, 2 in the 8th, 2 in the 9th. We just got to pray that they don't score any more and find a way to win 6-5 in extras. Obviously, we've been in this position before. We played the Astros, and we were down 5-0, and we scored 7 runs in the 8th and the 9th. But obviously, for us to do that here today, we're going to need a couple meltdowns, by pitchers. And, obviously, Baz pitched much better based on what his record in ERA. I mean, how in the hell is a guy that has 8 wins and 11 losses with an ERA above 5 putting the Mariners at a 0? And the answer is Mariners are on the road. And again, it just seems like everything at times on the road is shitty. Starting pitching, bullpen, hitting, power hitting. Maybe the only thing that's good on the road for the Mariners lately is defense. But again, they make a pitching change and they don't have Baz in anymore. So now, hopefully, we will be able to open this game up with Clevenger coming in. First pitch, breaking ball for a strike. Garrett Clevenger. Oh, 1 pitch, takes a strike, swinging right down the middle. We need Clevenger to have a fucking meltdown. Garrett Clevenger on the mound. Polo in the box. 0-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. And down goes Jorge Polanco. 1 away. Come on, Polo. We need home runs, not strikeouts, my guy. Next up is Dominic Canzone. Mitch Garver coming in to pinch hit. Why not Harry Ford? Harry Ford is a better hitter than Garver. First pitch, high and inside, 1-0 count. And you know if they're going to be replacing Garver for Canzone, then obviously they don't have a whole lot of faith in Dom or Luke Raley in right field. Gotta try to tread water until Victor Robles is back on the team. And then hopefully at that point that when we do have a DH, you know, it could be Polo, but if it's not Polo, you know, give Harry Ford a shot to do some damage if he can't catch. Top of the 7th inning, 5-0 Rays. Clevenger on the mound, Garver in the box. 2-0 pitch, low and away. Now we got a 3-0 count. Yeah, well, you know, DeBoer was underqualified. You know, obviously, you know, did great with Michael Penix Jr., but Michael Penix Jr. isn't, you know, a quarterback that you're just going to see all the time. You know, and again, that's not going to be the same type of recruiter as Saban. You know, it's like when you ended up having Saban, you were getting like all the best players. Now Ohio State is getting all the best players. You know, 90, you know, 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, you know, players. Even Texas is in the 70s. You know, Alabama is nowhere near that anymore. So, but hopefully at some point, you know, you'll get a coach that's on that Saban level and you guys will be good again. 3-2 pitch and down goes Garver. How do you go 3-0 and then 3 straight strikes? Fucking A, dude. Nice job by Garrett Clevenger. Nice job by Garrett. Most pitchers that get in the 3-0 hole, that ends up turning into something good, but I guess not with us. And why did you have Mitch Garver fucking pinch hit? Should have been Harry Ford, you dummies. Next up is J.P. Crawford, who's going to be the Mariner that gets us on the board. She's in and out once in a while with the streams and whatnot. You know, we've obviously taken off, you know, with good views and obviously sub numbers, you know, with doing the Mariners. And then once we go into football season, you know, you may see her pop in once in a while and whatnot. But she's not here as often as she was in the past. And there we go, JP with a nice single into left field. And that's exactly what we needed. Nice job, JP. That's that swagger and aura that we needed. Now we got JP on base. Emerson Hancock warming up in the pen. And hopefully we get Logan Evans when he's healthy and we move him to the pen as well. All right, here we go. Next up is Cole Young. And if we ever needed a big play out of Cole Young, it's right now. Single, double, triple, home run, just something. First pitch right down the middle to Cole Young, 0-1 count. Top of the 7th, 5-0 Rays lead. Runner at first, JP. And we have 2 outs, but that's not a problem. We can rally with 2 outs. We've done it many, many times. Come on, baby. Come on, Cole. 0-1 pitch, inside, 1 ball and 1 strike from Clevenger to Young. Garrett on the mound. Cole in the box. 1-1 pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Clevenger to Young. I disagree. I think he'll actually be pretty good, you know, with Bajan and Drake London and Pitts and whatnot. He'll be better than Kirk Cousins, you know, last year. So I still think Tampa is going to win the NFC South, but the Saints are terrible. They might finish last in their division. Panthers will go from probably 4th to 3rd. So really, there's only 2 teams in the South that are going to compete, and that's the Falcons and the Bucs. So. But obviously, you know, everyone is, you know, going to be different. You know, not everyone is going to explode right away, you know, like Bo Nix and other individuals as Jaden Daniels. You know, if Michael Penix Jr. started from the beginning of last year, you know, they probably would have had more wins than they did with Kirk. So obviously a good O-line and a good coordinator and a good defense will be his best friend. They already got good running game, wide receivers, and tight ends. It's just him getting the experience and the reps. 1-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss, and down goes Cole Young, and Clevenger does his job. And we leave another runner stranded. 0 runs, 6 hits, 0 errors for the Mariners. Now we got to go to the bottom of the 7th. Next up for the Rays, 1 for 2 with a run, 3 RBIs and a K, Nick Fortes. Batting second, 0 for 2. Shortstop in the 9 hole, Tristan Gray. And then back at the top of the order, 0 for 3, left fielder Chandler Simpson. All right, we're 2 likes away from 100. We have 17 people in the room that haven't hit the like button yet. So if we can get 2 people to do it, we'll be at the goal, and then we can go to our next goal. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on the dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's look to see where we're at on the sub count. Last time we checked, we were at 2 new subs. And now we're at 5 total. 75 to go to be able to hit our next goal of 21,700. Shout out to the 5 new subs. Shout out to the 2 individuals that helped with the dono train so far. Hopefully we'll get a few more that will help out on that. And we still need 2 likes to be able to get to a hundo, and hopefully we can get it. And there we go. We got it. We're at 102 now. Next goal is 125. Thank you so much. All right, Emerson Hancock in the pen for the very first time. And first pitch. Fortes safe at first with the fielding error. God damn it. Come on, Hancock. Let's go, Emerson. First pitch from Emerson Hancock to Gray. Sinker inside, 1-0 count. This is the first time that we've had a starter go into the pen in the last few years. Hancock on the mound. And Tristan Gray in the box. We need a strikeout and a double play, or a double play and a strikeout. Yeah, I can't wait for Colt Emerson as well. Lazaro Montez, Durangelo pitching from the left side and the right side. Cade Anderson, get Ben Williamson back on the team. There's a lot of guys to be excited about that are in the farm that will be, coming up in the next few years. 1-1 pitch, takes a strike looking high and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Hancock to Gray. Yeah, the quarterback situation for the Saints is a nightmare. You guys are tanking without saying you're tanking. You guys are trying to be able to get a top 3 pick in the draft. It's going to be very possible that the Saints only win 3 to 5 games this year. Obviously, if you're drafting a quarterback, you're not even starting that one. It definitely feels like you're kind of going in the wrong direction. But sometimes you got to take 1 step back to go 10 steps forward to be able to get the right guy to lead the team. Drew Brees types of players, they don't grow on trees, and you know that too. 2-2 pitch, and got him. There we go. Nice job by Emerson Hancock with the punch out there. First punch out for him in the pen in his career. Nice job, M. Let's go. Keep it going. And that is 1 away. Next up, left fielder 0 for 3, Chandler Simpson. And we need a double play. Slow dribbler up the middle, right? JP, throw to Naylor, and we get out of this inning. And then we have to try to score 2 runs in the 8th and 3 in the 9th. Asking a hell of a lot, but if we can get a meltdown by their pitchers, it could be possible. First pitch from Hancock to Simpson, low and at the knees, 1-0 count. One-0 pitch fouled off, high and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike from Hancock to Simpson. Bottom of the 7th, 5-0 Rays. 1-1 pitch, hit into left field. Run, Randy! Nice hit there from Simpson. Next up, first baseman Yandy Diaz. Bottom of the 7th now, runners at first and second with 1 out. We need a double play. Yandy Diaz, slow dribbler to J.P. Crawford or Cole Young. Throw to Naylor. We need to get out of this inning. Bottom of the 7th, 5-0 Rays. Come on, baby. Come on, Emerson. Got to find a way. First pitch. In the zone for a strike. Nice frame job there by Cal Raleigh. 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch. Chopped towards the first base line. And fair. And that's going to bring in how many? And sliding in home, it brings in 2. 7-0 Tampa. Now the game is over. Brutal. Not the Labor Day that I was expecting, but I did expect Castillo not to pitch well, but I did not expect it to be 7-0. Yeah, we got a top 3 coach in the country. So, and again, we're going to have a chance to, make a natty and win a natty as long as Dan Lanning stays. It's going to be like, having a Nick Saban or a Kirby Smart or a Ryan Day type, and I'm hoping that I can see a Duck natty and a Mariner pennant, before I die. I would love to be able to see both teams that are in my blood, win something. 7-0 Rays. Unbelievable. We got to be better tomorrow. And hopefully Randy is more focused and not, just chopping it up with the fans and lollygagging and jogging in left field. We need to be better. Big swing and a miss by Lowe. No balls and 2 strikes from Hancock to Lowe. But luckily, we don't get blown out like this often. This is only something that's happened to us 5 to 10 times in like 120, 130 games. So this is not a regular thing that happens to us. But again, we're not very good on the road. And again, if starting pitching isn't good, the bullpen isn't good, and you can't hit, it doesn't matter if you're going against a guy that's got a shitty win-loss record and an ERA above 5. A lot of times we can make anybody look like a Cy Young candidate. 0-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and down goes Lowe, and now it's 2 away. Yeah, at this point, we're pacing to win only 1 game against the Rays and maybe 1 against the Braves. And then we have to make up that, ground at home, which is not ideal. You want to go 2 out of 3 on the road or sweep. But clearly our struggles on the road are still continuing to happen. As another hit right up the middle. Jesus Christ. And another run trying to come home. Weak throw by Julio. 8-0 Rays. Now they just gave up. Golly. And that nothing makes me more frustrated than lack of effort, but it definitely shows you like who still cares about the team, who still cares about individual stats, and who cares about team stats. And unbelievable, man. 8-0. Unbelievable. Nice hit by Junior Caminero with that RBI. Yandy Diaz scores. 8-0 Rays. Low crushes it all the way back to the wall, but caught, and that is out number 3. Yeah, the thing is, though, you have to understand that, he's better than Scott Service. And the thing is, it's not like managers are aplenty. It's not like the NFL or college football where you can promote a offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, or get someone else. Like in baseball, it's difficult. They don't even promote guys from college. Like you could have the best college coach or manager, and it's not like they're coming to MLB. It's like a lot of those guys just stay in college. And out of 30 teams, right, how many managers are actually considered good? 5? So it's not like there's 15 great managers and we can go pluck one from another team. It's a lot of former players, but just because you're a former player doesn't mean you're going to be a good manager, and again, I want someone better than Dan as well, but for the time being, we're stuck with him. And then eventually, he'll take us to a certain level, and then eventually we'll let him go and get someone to maybe get us over the top. But who knows how long that'll be, And if Dan ends up getting us to a World Series or ALDS, ALCS, then we're not going to, move on from him. We're going to keep him for a while. So, it's not like you're going to change managers every couple years. It's not, unfortunately, the NFL, and there's just a lack of availability too. I wish there was more to choose from. Trust me. It's frustrating when you get a guy that doesn't play small ball. It's frustrating when you don't bunt. It's frustrating when you keep a guy in too long or pull a guy too soon. It's frustrating by putting in the wrong guy in the pen to come into the game and have the game just fucking end. There's a lot of things, but you got to remember, Dan Wilson isn't the only guy that fucking struggles as manager like most guys do. Like I said, there's only like 4 or 5, managers that are considered like good or elite. And then the other 25 are just trying to figure it out and keep their job. That's facts. Let's go to the top of the 8th, 8-0 Tampa. Now we just have to pray that we can get to 1 to 3 runs, that we don't get goose egged, and that'll hopefully carry over to tomorrow. But we'll see who ends up actually still trying and who gave up today. 2 for 3 with a K, left fielder Randy Arozarena. Batting second, big dumper Cal Raleigh, and batting third, Julio Rodriguez. First pitch to Randy, chops it foul, 0-1 count. Yeah, this is Dan's first year, and on top of that, he's never been a manager before. He doesn't know any better. He's just getting, advice from the other, assistants that are there with him. Whether it be Edgar, Ichiro when he's there at home in Seattle, Seitzer and some of the other guys, and sometimes he's going to have to, try to do it on his own. And clearly, the inexperience is showing. 1-1 pitch. Right down the middle on the corner to Randy. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Van Bell to Arozarena. Yeah, I mean, some guys are physically gifted. There's no doubt about that. But it's like, I like the intangibles, hustle, effort, heart, like you mentioned, and Randy strikes out. And again, I get it. This is a grueling 162 game season. No other, professional sport goes as long as this. The NHL and the NBA are pretty long. And obviously football is so physically demanding that you're not going to have as many games as far as college football and the NFL. Their bodies couldn't handle, more games than they're playing than they already are already, right? So, but you can definitely tell the guys that are thinking about, hey, I need a drink, or hey, what's for dinner? Who am I going to meet up with after the game? And then the people that are actually still trying to win. First pitch to Cal is low and away, 1-0 count. And at this point, the only thing that we can get happy about is maybe if Cal or Julio homers, so that way they can add to their stat total. And then we can get Cal to extend his home run lead and hopefully win the AL MVP over Judge. Because we know Schwarber was right on his heels, and we know that Cal and Gino have had good seasons, as well as Judge and Shohei Ohtani and Kyle Schwarber. But it feels like it's been a minute since Cal has homered. Van Bell, the big dumper, and crushes it into right field, and a nice single there for Cal. There we go. There we go. Nice job by Cal Raleigh. I mean, obviously we're looking for the home run out of Cal, but anything positive at this point we're going to take. We're getting our ass kicked, right? Next up is Julio Rodriguez, and nothing would make me happier than Julio hitting a 2-run jack, so that way we can at least get to 2 and not be at a 0. Come on, Julio. I want him to get to 30-plus home runs before the season's over. He's at 26, 76 ribbies. So, if he can keep up a decent pace, he might be able to get to 90 ribbies and hopefully over 30 homers before the regular season ends. First pitch is low and away, 1-0 count. Oh, yeah, Bobby was great. And double play, throw to first, and got him. Brutal. That's just the type of game it is. We can't even get anybody to come home. 0 runs, 7 hits, and an error. 8 runs, 11 hits, and no errors. And again, tomorrow will be better, and I believe Game 3 will be better. We won't have to see Luis Castillo for a while. So as long as we don't get down into a big hole. And again, you got to think, when you get down 5-0, it definitely affects the hitters, their mindset at the plate rather than, being at 0-0 or being, up a couple. So we'll see where it goes. But not the type of game that we expected here today. And we have to be thankful that this is only one of maybe 10 games that we've had like this year. Luckily, this is not a regular occurrence. Next up, 3 for 3 with a run, center fielder Jake Mangum. Batting second, 0 for 2 with a run, base on ball and a K, DHing Richie Palacios. And batting third, catcher, 1 for 3 with a 3-run blast, Nick Fortes. I mean, the perfect manager for the Mariners in 2025 would be Lou Piniella if he was our manager now, rather than back in the 90s. I mean, if we had a Lou Piniella type of manager, I mean, definitely it's like, ALDS, ALCS, divisional winner, World Series or bust. The attitude is different, Lou Piniella had that swagger and that passion. He was a little bit of a hothead, but he would defend his team and defend his players. And if that means that you get thrown out, once in a while, hell, that's something that sometimes you need to motivate the fans and to motivate the players as well. So that would be the ideal type of guy that we would need. Somebody that's fiery, somebody that's respected, but also someone that is well-liked and well-loved. So we got 3 games here on the road against Tampa, 3 against the Braves, at home for the Cardinals and the Angels, on the road for the Royals and the Astros, and then Dodgers at home. So, and now we got Taylor Saucedo in the game. Hold your breath. This could turn in from 8-0 to 12-0 real quick, unless Sauce is on pace. But obviously, they've given up on coming back today. First pitch is high and away, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch. It's in right field, and nice out there by Luke Raley, 1 away. Filling in for Dominic Canzone. Seahawks played pretty good in the preseason, and again, the Niners lost a lot, and the Rams are the favored team to win the division. But again, Niners and Seahawks, may surprise a little bit, we'll wait and see. I mean, if the Rams have major injuries, the division will be up for grabs. But, again, you don't have Geno, you don't have DK Metcalf, you don't have Lockett, and obviously you got Darnold there. But again, Darnold is typically good with a great offensive line and a great defense like he had, on the Vikings. So this team is a little different, but, we'll kind of have a wait and see approach. It wouldn't really shock me if they go 8-9 or 9-8. But it is possible that they could overachieve and go 10-7 and get second place in the division. Or if they really overachieve and the Niners and Rams, all their players get hurt and they win, they sweep the NFC West and go 6-0, then they might be able to get to 11. But I don't know if that would happen. I don't really see it happening that way, at least not in year one. And obviously Darnold is a short-term fix, not a long-term fix down the road. It's like a Band-Aid until you find your franchise QB. 2-1 pitch, fouled off right down the middle. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Sauce to Palacios. But Rams should be good. Lions should be good. Packers and Vikings will be competitors, right? Eagles and Commanders should be good, and Bucks should be pretty good, and Falcons should be much improved as well, as far as the NFC. And popped up, and that is 2 away. Down goes Palacios. Yeah, well, when they end up winning, 0-3 games, don't be surprised. If you follow the roster and follow the team, it's not looking very good. But you can still be a fan of your team, but again, it's going to be a long year. This is going to be probably the worst year the Saints have had in a long time, based on the decisions that they're making, at this point with quarterback and the draft. So, and a lot of their really good players are getting older. So don't be shocked if they finish in last place in the NFC South this year. Even the Panthers could leapfrog them from 4th to 3rd, which is something that we've never been able to say. Normally they're, competing with the Bucks at the top, but, it looks like it's going to be Bucks, Falcons, Panthers, Saints, unless something crazy happens. 1-1 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike from Sauce to Fortes. And that's not me being biased. That's just being real. Yeah, hard to root, but if you end up losing games like the Mariners are losing today, I mean, how many games in a row can you watch if they go 0-10? You still going to watch every game? I know some Saints fans aren't going to, Some are diehards, and they're going to watch every game beginning to end, but there's definitely going to be quite a few that are going to give up on the team this year, and then they'll wait till next year to see what it looks like. And 2-1 pitch, and Fortes with a big single to left. Next up is shortstop Kristen Gray. First pitch from Sauce to Gray, low and away, 1-0 count. Well, the Emerson Hancock experiment in the pen didn't work out. Crazy that Vargas ended up being the best pitcher today, who's considered probably the worst player on the team, but has been playing better. Make it make sense. 1-0 pitch, fouls it off right down the middle. 1 ball and 1 strike from Sauce to Gray. Yeah, but if they end up, getting the first pick in the draft and they get like a quarterback and it ends up, being the franchise guy like a Drew Brees, then it'll be worth it, only winning 3-4 games this upcoming year, if that happens. Like if you can actually turn the team around, based on the high draft pick status. So sometimes you got to take 1 step back to go 10 steps forward. And hopefully we see Harry Ford in the lineup tomorrow because we could have used him today. 2-1 pitch, fouled off, high and inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. From Sauce to Gray. 2-2 pitch. Pitch is low and away and doesn't get the call in the zone. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And that was right on the line. They could have given him that call, but we're already down 8-0, so I guess they don't care. Got a few more games to go. We should have Robles on the weekend when we play the Braves. 3-2 pitch and crushed deep into center field, all the way back to the wall and gone. Unbelievable. And Sauce giving up a home run. 2-run blast. 10-0 Rays. Is that good? My God. Pitching. It shows you how important pitching really is. Starting pitching, bullpen pitching, and on top of that, not being able to get any home runs and not being able to get any RBIs. This is luckily we've only seen like a game or 2 like this all year. We haven't lost 10-0, often. Like, we're only going to lose like this once or twice a season, and it just so happens that it's today. Yeah, well, again, I watch this team, and I know, this team, body language, what they do at home and what they do on the road, and first pitch to Simpson, takes a strike looking, 0-1 count, and Sauce is probably the worst player on the team now. Yeah, him and Vargas, and even Vargas is better than Sauce. We got rid of Donnie Barrels, Solano is gone, Dylan Moore is gone, but we took too long to get rid of them. Should have got rid of those guys months ago and brought up Harry Ford and Leo Rivas. But again, if you're looking at this team, it definitely shows you how important pitching and bullpen is. And in the offseason, we shouldn't be grabbing anybody that plays a position. We should only be grabbing pitchers in the offseason. Starting pitchers or bullpen guys and moving them into the pen. Throw to first and slow dribbler to Simpson, and that's out number 3. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Brutal. All right, well, we got one more inning to go for this nightmare to end on Labor Day. Again, and I'm trying to remember if we've ever even had a game like this all year. I don't think we have. We've never lost 10-0 before. So hopefully we can get at least a 1, so the embarrassment won't be a donut at the scoreboard at the end of the day. But again, we have to see if these guys have checked out mentally or not. But we actually have the hitters to get to at least 1. 1 for 3, first baseman Josh Naylor. Batting second, 1 for 3 with a K, Eugenio Suarez, good vibes only. And batting third, 0 for 3 with 2 Ks, Jorge Polanco. So all 3 of these guys could hit a home run, but the big question is, will they? Or will they just, just like get slow dribblers to first base and then bang, 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 the game is over. So, but again, luckily, this has only happened to us once or twice this year. And again, not ideal. That's what shows Luis Castillo ain't it, and he doesn't deserve to be on this team after this year. We need to promote Cade Anderson and get rid of Castillo. Castillo isn't good enough to be on any team. Just needs to retire. You just don't got it anymore. And again, there definitely will be a team that will pick him up, but we shouldn't have him on the roster. It should be Wu, right? Gilbert, Kirby, Miller, and then we promote Cade Anderson, and we'll have a lefty in the lineup. And then we just need to keep improving the bullpen. And obviously, when Victor Robles comes back, that'll give us that lift that we need for good vibes only, defense and right field, and another guy that can actually hit a bunt, and also someone that can actually help us win. Yeah, we're gonna have to try to win at least one out of the next 2 games, but it feels like we might only win 1 game in this series and maybe only 1 against Atlanta. But hopefully, if things get better, then we go back to back tomorrow and Wednesday and win, and then that could lead us to winning 2 games against Atlanta. But if we drop, another game tomorrow or Wednesday and we only win 1 out of 3, against Tampa, we're probably only going to win 1 out of 3 against Atlanta, even though Atlanta's not good this year. First pitch from Van Bell to Naylor, takes a strike looking outside of the zone, 0-1 count. Yeah, but we got Rivas, right? And we got Harry Ford, so we need to implement those guys. Stop playing Luke Raley and Dominic Canzone, and then just pray that we can get Victor Robles back, obviously. And, we're going to get him this weekend, but, who knows what the fucking record's going to be by the time that he comes back. Popped up, and Naylor is out, 1 away. Yeah, but again, if Luis Castillo gives up 5 runs within the first couple innings, it's hard to come back. And we're not a very good team on the road. So, again, ERA from our pitchers on the road is like doubled compared to what it is at home. So, we're much better at home, pitching, bullpen, and hitting. And again, normally the hitting will happen no matter what, even if the pitching is bad. This is like the first time that we've seen the hitting be non-existent. No homers, no ribbies, starting pitching, terrible, bullpen, terrible, and hitting today, terrible. The trifecta, and this is the first time that we've had it like this. So, and hopefully it won't be, it'll be the last time that we see it like this. I don't want to see a 10-0 loss the rest of the year. One pitch, and Gino crushes it into left field. Go, go, go. Go, baby, go. Get the double. And there we go. Stand-up double by Gino. There we go. Let's see if we can get to at least 1 before the game is over. 10-1 is better than 10-0. And next up is Jorge Polanco. But knowing what's been happening to us lately, he'll probably hit into a double play and it'll be game over. But if Polo can homer or get an RBI and we can go to 10-1, that'll make me feel a little bit better. And we got Leo Rivas coming in for Polo. Awesome. We get a chance to see Leo, who got the call up. All right, come on, Rivas. Let's see if we can get a bunt, single, double. Let's go, Leo. Leo getting a chance to hit before Harry Ford, and maybe we can get Harry Ford in the lineup tomorrow for good vibes. First pitch to Leo Rivas. Takes a strike looking right down the middle. Leo's been very good in AAA this year, and again, he should have been on the team, for a good chunk of the year. He's been playing great. A guy that can play defense, a guy that can get, some singles in the box, a guy that can bunt like Victor Robles, and hopefully we can get something here. First pitch is in the zone. Second pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike to Leo Rivas. We're going to make the playoffs. It's not, again, we're 32-37 on the road. Rivas, hit it deep, back, see ya! And Leo Rivas, a singles hitter, comes in the game, and what does he do? Hits a 2-run blast because he knows that I still believe. 10-2 Tampa. Nice job. And again, sometimes, you need guys at the bottom of the order, Dom, JP, and Cole, to get the job done. They end up, calling up Leo Rivas from AAA this morning. And what does he do in his first at-bat? Gets a 2-run blast. There we go. And if that isn't a sign to play Leo Rivas on the regular, I don't know what is. Let's go. And again, we're still going to lose. Yeah. But again, you got to be able to celebrate little things. And again, how often is a guy going to get called up and hit a home run? And hopefully Harry Ford, when he gets a chance in his first at bat, he does something like that as well. Let's go. But Leo deserves to be playing, I mean, even if that means that you got to, substitute between JP and Cole Young and vice versa, you got to find a way, or even have him DH over Garver or Polo. Popped up, and that is 2 away. But again, I think Luke Raley and Dominic Canzone shouldn't be playing, like guys like Rivas and Ford should take that spot. And Raley gets the opportunity to fly out to center, which is something that he's been doing on the regular. But nice job by Leo getting that big 2-run blast. 10-2 is a hell of a lot better than 10-0. Feels a hell of a lot better. And next up is JP Crawford. Let's go, JP. Van Bell on the mound, JP Crawford in the box, big swing and a miss, low and away. We're down to our last strike, but at least we got the homer by Rivas. And again, he's been very good. We should have had him on the team 2 months ago with Harry Ford. Sticking with Donovan Solano and Dylan Moore was stupid. But again, this is Dan Wilson's first year, and you got to be able to recognize, who is going to help the team win and who isn't. And at some point, we may even see Ben Williamson get called back up, at some point with this roster. Pitch is low and away. 1-2 pitch. Check swing, and he does not go. 2 balls and 2 strikes to JP Crawford. Yeah, JP is overdue for a home run or a big play, But again, we already got our big home run by Rivas. Like him homering here would be great, but, maybe saving it for tomorrow. But we'll see. 2-2 pitch. And JP hitting it into right field and dropping for a single. There we go, JP. And it shows you all you need is that first person, to give you a little bit of life, and then others start to join the party. There we go. Nice knock by JP into right field. And next up is Cole Young. And this would be a great opportunity for Cole Young to hit a 2-run blast to make it 10-4. Yeah. I mean, if you're talking about unthinkable, like coming back, yeah, we're not going to come back. But we could get to 4 or 5 before the game ends. We're great with 2 outs. I mean, if Cole Young can hit a 2-run blast, chances are we'll probably be able to, maybe continue the rally. But again, it's like when you get these singles hitters that hit home runs, it's so unexpected. You don't expect Cole Young, JP Crawford, or Leo Rivas to ever hit a home run. It's like having Ichiro. Like, when he hit a home run, it was almost shocking, because he normally was just going for single swings. But definitely got a little pop in the bat with some of these guys that are, traditional singles hitters. First pitch from Van Bell to Young, fouls it off right down the middle, 0-1 count. Top of the ninth, 10-2, Tampa lead. A lot better than 10-0. I feel so much better here on Labor Day. It's still a stinging loss, but again, it'll give us a little bit of hype and a little bit of excitement going into tomorrow. Actually, not getting a 0 and feeling sorry for ourselves. We can be excited for Leo Rivas and celebrate him. 0-1 pitch, low and out the knees, 1 ball and 1 strike to Cole Young. 1-1 pitch, right down the middle. Takes a strike looking, 1 ball and 2 strikes from Van Bell to Young. They're down to their last strike, but hopefully Young can get a hit to keep the inning going. Come on, Cole. Top of the ninth, 10-2, Rays lead. Runner at first with 2 outs. 1-2 pitch, high and away. Good eye by Cole Young. And that's one thing that you can actually mention about Cole Young, for being a rookie and playing longer than Ben Williamson and staying on the squad ever since he got called up. His patience in the box is admirable. There's been a lot of times where he could have chased like Julio at the beginning of the year, and he didn't. 2-2 pitch. And Crawford is second on a fielder's indifference. There we go. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Van Bell to Young. That, Cole has won us a few games already, with big clutch RBIs at the end. 3-2 pitch. Slow dribbler. Over the pitcher's head. Throw to first. And got him. Was hoping that Cole was going to hustle a little bit more. If he would have went full speed, I think he would have been safe. But again, we got the Rivas home run, and that is the final. Final score, Tampa Bay Rays 10, Seattle Mariners 2. But again, at least, after getting the call up from AAA this morning with Harry Ford, Harry didn't get a chance to play yet, hopefully tomorrow. But in his first at-bat, he homered, 2-run blast. And again, it's much better to lose 10-2 than 10-0. That's facts. And again, we'll be much better tomorrow. Believe that. Love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. And like I said, I got to be able to walk my pup, and it kind of depends on where we're at on the dono train. I mean, if we still have people, donating and, supporting, then sometimes, we will. But based on, the growth of the channel, with what we've been doing, usually I eat dinner and, take my pup on a walk and spend time there. So, but again, we will be live tomorrow, same time, same place for the Mariners and the Rays, and hopefully we end up being in the win column tomorrow. Love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very much. Final score, Rays 10, Mariners 2. GG to all the Rays fans. Shout out to David and Flying Monk for the dono support. And I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Labor Day. And I got one question for you. Who talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Try dance up, and I'm out. Go M's.